What is good, people? First of all, before we even get into this episode, let me know if y'all can hear me with the audio. So as we're getting through with this show we about to have today, because I think, frankly, it's absolutely ridiculous. Go ahead and let me know if y'all can hear the audio. That way we are moving on smooth. Okay, so guys, today we are going to be talking about Sneako, okay? And listen, man, there are a couple things that we have to have ourselves understand here, right? Because first things first, there's a lot of things happening in the manosphere space, people. Okay. There is a lot of things happening in the manosphere space. Not only that, we are starting to see a lot of new actors kind of mosey their way into this particular space, right? And some of them, with huge notorieties like the Andrew Tates of the world, and now we're seeing the Sneakos, right? But we're now also seeing other actors, and this is part of the conspiracy I was saying before, right? Like the greater conspiracy of the political thing going on, where some political interests, some media apparatuses or people who are trying to start certain media, and they want to have a certain narrative that they want to portray. Okay, these are the kind of people that you're going to start seeing filter in to the manosphere space. Okay, and one no other than this individual named Nick Fuentes. Okay, and I don't know where this person came from, and I don't think he has a YouTube channel anymore, but he's this American Cuban freaking whatever mutt mixed dude that's pretty much pouncing around social media, apparently spouting out some pretty interesting things, and some of them we're actually going to get into in this very episode. Okay, because listen, man, this is where we have to be vigilant. Okay, because two things: one, I am glad that we're actually having these types of conversations with people on the other side, or of people who have different opinions, right? I'm good. What's good, Coda Kid? What's good, Z Crew? What's good, all y'all? Welcome. Smash the like button. We're just having a discussion today, okay? Today's live stream, we're gonna make it a little bit different, okay? We're gonna chill, we're gonna relax. Probably not relax. I'm probably gonna get heated based on what these guys are about to say. But overall, the vibe's gonna be a little bit different today, okay? But what was I going before? Okay, guys like Nick Fuentes. Okay, these guys who have these extreme opinions, and if you guys remember what I said about last stream, how a lot of these guys tend to use the conspiracy side of things to hook you in. Okay, some like the Alex Jones syndrome. Okay, I let you guys know about the Alex Jones syndrome all the time. Okay, it's a real thing. Okay, and if you guys don't know, that is basically what Alex Jones does or used to do before he lost his mind. All right, he would say things and spit out conspiracies that were actually factual, right? But then he would hook it in with like crazy, outlandish, like just thought processes that just doesn't make any sense. And one of them is actually getting him in legal trouble right now. I think it was the Pizzagate one, where now the media is blaming him for inciting some kind of, violence, which I don't know. However you want to look at it, it is what it is. That's why you got to be careful what you say out here. But that's the Alex Jones syndrome. And for a while, this guy garnered a lot of followers. People fucked with the guy because they love what the fuck he was saying, right? They love that conspiracy part. They love the being an underdog, right? Because there's this massive elite problem that are keeping you down, and then they're putting all their ways and plans together to make sure that your life ends up the way it is right now. And for a lot of disenfranchised young men, they grasp onto that. Now, not saying that some of those conspiracies aren't actually true, because it is, but the way these guys are making it sound, it's not the case. So then what they then do is now hook you in, and then they start force feeding you all this other bullshit. Unfortunately, a lot of our young men are now buying into that garbage. Okay, and now here's the thing, which actually goes to my other point I made in the last stream. This is why I do not support the banning of Andrew Tate, right? And here's the thing, it's a mixed bag. Okay, listen, it's a mixed bag, because some people are like, yo, Duke, finally we got to get this guy off the streets, and finally he's off the streets. It is what it is, right? And some of y'all are like, yo, this shit sucks, freedom of speech. Now I'm like most people, or who are few in numbers now, right there in the middle. Okay, I am right there in the middle. And my thought process is, hey, listen, bro. Okay, with all this stuff going on, I'm neither here or there. I'm like right here because that's where a lot of y'all need to be. Because what ends up happening is, and this is the point I'm getting to, when we get forced into certain sides, you basically become a pawn of somebody else, like on of the other side, and that's what they do. And a lot of you, this Nick Fuentes guy, right? He's one of those guys that I'm just mentioning. He's one of those conspiratorial guys, okay? And not only that, he hooks you with the conspiracy, and then there's an undertone of white supremacy. Now, here's the thing. The manosphere, or at least subsections of the manosphere, is actually known for embracing certain aspects of white supremacy and like anti-Semitism and things like that. That does exist in the manosphere. We can't just sit here and ignore the fact that it doesn't exist. If you don't believe me, go look at some of these Discord and Reddit channels, and you really gonna see there's a lot of racial undertones within this. And it even goes as far as into the teachings a lot of these manosphere leaders teach, right? Some of them, it goes into the idea of race mixing, right? The age-old trope of, daddy, she's bringing home a black guy, right? And how, even goes to, which part of the conversation they even had in this episode, to how other guys feel about, their girl, if they were white, dating a black guy, or if they dated a black guy, how would they be viewed? So it's that age-old trope, the white girl, the big black guy, things like that. And then with a lot of white folks, or certain aspects of white folks, not being cool with that. Now, this overall conversation that they had, I mean, it didn't really delve deep into the whole. I mean, it kind of just kept it on this man Nick, okay? Because here's the thing about those type of ideas: when you really press against it, because here's the thing with a guy like Nick. I know I'm all over the place, but you guys hear me out. With a guy like Nick, right? He uses these certain, conspiracy ideas, and one of the main things they focus on, follow me here, is the COVID situation, right? The immigration situation. He tends to mention that a lot, right? A lot of these different situations where people can tie it to a greater conspiracy. So let me give you guys an example, right? For the immigration situation, okay, we're importing foreign workforce to either replace the current workforce that's here. It doesn't necessarily have to be white in nature, right? The white people, they're taking our jobs, that whole nonsense, right? Or a situation where they are driving down the cost of labor, right? Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like, the wages have been going up, right? So essentially they blame these other classes for the wages going down and things like that. Now, on certain aspects, that's legit, and those are the things they'll try to hook you up with. And then once they get you with that, you dive down the rabbit hole of, well, I don't believe that my daughter, if she's white, should, date a black guy or have mixed kids. Matter of fact, I don't believe that whites or blacks should really integrate, or even Hispanics, or even any other race, right? I don't believe that. We just need to keep America, or black people, Asian people, right? So we're gonna have a conversation today while like analyzing this, because I want to have an open conversation, right? Because this is a thing. This is a thing where, a lot of races, they would prefer, keeping within the race. Okay. So let's have a conversation about that. Do they have a point? So, guys, I see y'all in here. Welcome to the show. Listen. Oh, young geezer, we gonna get into the new actors. There's a lot of new actors, and I believe Nick Fuentes is one of them. Matter of fact, Nick Fuentes is one of the person, by the end of all this, is someone we don't actually want in the manosphere or want to associate with the Redpill. Realistically, I think this motherfucker, after having this conversation with Sneako, he's gonna use the Redpill as a way to get in and kind of build a base. Because I told you all before, the Redpill, and I won't say the Redpill, but the manosphere, at least subsections of the manosphere, have that racist undertone to it, that anti-Semitism Semitism undertone to it. We can't deny it; it's there. But that's not saying all manosphere people believe in that. No. It exists. We just don't want guys like Nick Fuentes with his ideas, right? It's nice to see that they're out there. It's nice to know that, he is what he is as a person, right? But we don't want his ideas further integrating with the greater space of the manosphere, because Sneako, he got his way in through the whole Andrew Tate situation, right? Because he's piggybacking off that wave. He's still riding off that wave and is doing well for him. But it's it's just one of those things that I can potentially see him, because they're doing more podcasts with this guy. Everyone's talking with this guy and stuff like that. And I don't have anything against that, but I could see that as his way of trying to get in to that overall mainstream side of things and really pulling out a lot of these young guys who staunchly believe in that stuff. Now, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get this going. Anonymous says they're all working for the feds. Hey, listen, on both sides, my dude, we'll talk about it on both sides, bro. On both sides, no joke. So wait. First things first. Let me talk about Andrew Tate real quick, guys. We just chilling for a second. Let me talk about Andrew Tate real quick. All right, because like I said, he recently got banned off of Instagram and all this stuff like that, and he recently posted a response to it. And I kind of want to watch this because he's over here on what do you call this? Aiden Ross's show. And Aiden Ross's show, people can say he's responsible for basically, helping his platform pretty much go crazy, right? And now he's banned. Okay, now guys, pay attention to this, because there's a reason why we want to talk about this this banning here, because maybe this could be the route that a lot of guys in the manosphere may be heading up to if they head up that strategy of being extreme with rhetoric to basically garner an audience. All right. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Okay. It's a good thing because you're getting attention. It's a bad thing because then you get banned like Andrew Tate. And a lot of these motherfuckers, they go underground. And my problem is when these people go underground, we don't know what they're thinking. Like guys like Nick Fuentes. Okay, so let's see what Andrew Tate has to say about him getting banned. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio, and let's go from there.
Tried to log in Instagram a couple hours ago, it wouldn't let me. I have good people on the case. I trust due process with Instagram. I'm actually quite understanding of their position. I do understand it very, very well. I'm not angry at them in any regard. It's not a big loss for me. It's not something I use too often. But I do understand their position, because we're actually living in a world now where it's kind of strange. This is an unprecedented period of human history.
Can hear it?
And we have internet sensationalism, global sensationalism on a scale which has never happened before. And also we have the ability to edit things so quickly, right? So you can say something on a stream and they can remove all context. You can say something, they can change the tone of your voice, or you can say something.
It's already happened to me many times, yes.
Exactly. And then what they can do is they can throw that in front of a hate mob, and then internet sensationalism can take control, and people can start to believe in narratives which are false, and then people have to take some kind of action against that. So I understand all these things. I understand that with great power and great influence comes great responsibility. And I'm very understanding of the situation. I think that I'm a strongly religious man. I believe that God will prevail, the truth will prevail.
Right.
The one thing that's a little bit
fuck up. Shut the fuck up, bro. Jesus Christ. I'm a religious man, okay, and trust me, God will prevail. Yes. Man, this is bare metal bullshit, dog. I have y'all are hedonists. Y'all some hedonist motherfuckers promoting hedonistic lifestyle and debauchery, okay? Pretty much everything against the Bible and Quran, and you over here talking about religious. No, you guys are just picking and choosing what works for your little ideology. But overall, I like how calm he is about this. Maybe he's I don't know if he's putting on a front or he seems genuinely okay with it. I like how he's generally treating the whole situation. It does suck, right? But again, you can't treat it as everyone against you, because you got to think about it, even though it is truly a lot of people against him because the wild shit and the takes that you say, right? It comes down to can I go like tinfoil hat real quick? Can I go tinfoil hat real quick? Okay, because I gotta go tinfoil hat real quick. Okay, here's the thing. Y'all know a lot of these companies, all right, including companies like YouTube, they're owned by other conglomerates, right? And these are also bigger brands that own bigger brands that are owned by two major firms. Okay, one of them is BlackRock and the other one is Vanguard. Okay, BlackRock and Vanguard own a lot of stake in a lot of companies. BlackRock, I think, has more stake, not only in a lot of companies, but in a lot of institutions globally, right? If you want to talk about like the one of the special interest groups, right? BlackRock is that entity that's in the shadows. I mean, even the name, even the name, like that ought to tell y'all something, right? So BlackRock and Vanguard, they own a lot of stock, okay? And there's a CEO of BlackRock. If you guys in the chat, can you guys go ahead and look up the name of the CEO of BlackRock? Okay, he's this bald guy. Okay, and this guy essentially he's basically done what he can to consolidate a fuck ton of not only government influence but a lot of corporate power. One of them includes the likes of Disney, right? All these big, companies that throw advertisements, billions of dollars worth of advertisements, right? And they go by what's called like an ESG score, right? And these companies are also funded by what do you call it, equity, right? They get funded by fundraising. So people invest money and they do a series of rounds, right? They can raise billions of dollars each round. So because a lot of these companies aren't really making money like that, so they need investor cash to keep things going. All right. So if you want a company like BlackRock, if you're hooked on that cash, right, you're gonna want to abide by their standards. And one of them is basically a score of how woke you are. It's an actual thing, all right? How woke you can be in terms of what you can say, how things can be structured, right? Now you trickle it down to a lot of these social media companies. A lot of these social media companies, in some form of way, have BlackRock investment or are being owned or have people on the board that pretty much are beholden to those standards. You see what I'm saying? And when they advertise on platforms like YouTube, okay, they want to make sure that shit's straight. Okay. The reason why YouTube limits ads on videos, the reason why YouTube bans or deletes certain people, not even YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. I don't know if Snapchat does it to that degree. I'm sure they ban people, but TikTok, right? All these different companies, the reason why they're doing that is because it's not because of a mystery to get you out of there, is for them to just make more money or get more cash. So in this situation where Andrew Tate's getting banned, he's gone off of Instagram, right? Because they don't like the shit he says. It falls underneath that category. It does not fit with the agenda. Now, I'm probably sure he's going to come back in some way, shape, or form, but I want y'all to understand something. The noose is tightening, okay? The noose is tightening. Fuck what these dudes are telling you. If they're telling you, oh, this shit's coming, the new world, it's already here, okay? The noose is tightening. If you keep going, if you don't go about structuring how you present yourself, right, there's almost guaranteed retaliation. You can't avoid that, right? That's why I applaud content creators like Kevin Samuels, right? With Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, he knew how to tailor his words. He was sharp to get the attention, but he was also able to tailor it in a way where it stings, but it's not crazy. All right. Now Kevin Samuels gone. You have Andrew Tate, who's trying to be the new head. I'm not saying he's trying to be. He's basically taking it over, right? You got Andrew Tate. He's even crazier than what Kevin Samuels was saying. And he's garnering more attention than he used. He's even garnering more attention than someone like Myron Gaines. Okay, because we thought Myron Gaines might get it. Fuck all. That's this guy right here, Andrew Tate. You see what I'm saying? So he's even crazier. Now, this goes into why I don't agree with the banning, right? Because we get rid of guys like him, the next person is going to be worse. The next person is going to might be an idiot. Okay, like I'm gonna throw Sneako in that category. I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw Sneako in that category because I think he's still going through the process of learning. But like some of the shit he says and how he tries to defend the indefensible, like it's like you got to ask questions. Like, buddy, are you freaking thinking, or are you doing? Is this either you're doing this on purpose, which I can see in your eyes and the way that you speak? You're probably not. Like you're definitely serious. Or you're genuinely stupid. All right. And if you're genuinely stupid, we got to have a conversation about that, because you're on your way to millions of followers, buddy. Okay. And there's a lot of people who you can transform into idiots like yourself. Okay. So we just gotta keep that clear. Y'all listen. Did y'all figure out who was the name of that? Who was the name of that BlackRock CEO? Can y'all put that in the chat? I want to know the name of that. But let me go ahead and continue. Let me go ahead and continue with that. I'm gonna play this, but I'm gonna just play a little bit, but then we're gonna jump into the meat and potatoes of today.
Annoying. I mean, because a lot of people have been insulting me for a long time on all platforms, and that's fine. It really doesn't bother me because I'm an extremely strong person. I know that some people would be very, very uncomfortable in my position. Not many people can sleep at night with the kind of death threats I've been getting, but for me, it's been fine, right?
You're getting death threats?
Oh yeah, I get, and this is the thing that's crazy, right? So I would
Larry Fink, shout out to you, thank you, Larry Fink, that douchebag. Look him up, Larry. If you want to know why Marvel sucks now, like why Disney Marvel movies sucks, is because of this guy, Larry Fink. Okay, that this guy is the guy that is responsible for a lot of companies going woke. All right. That's what this is. A lot of times the conspiracy we're thinking about that it's out to get you. It's really about money. Okay. In the end of the day, it's about guys like Larry Fink who make billions, trillions of dollars, bruh. And they would lord that power over companies like Marvel and Disney, right? And you get crappy woke shows that don't freaking make any type of sense whatsoever, and they only serve the purpose for the agenda. Okay, so Larry Fink, that's the guy. Yeah, they killed the Commander. They killed Star Wars too. They're gonna kill a lot of shows. Disney's gonna destroy a lot of shows, people. Like just wait, y'all just wait. They're gonna destroy a lot of shows. It's just sad to see it go, but there's not a whole lot you could do besides voting with your money. You know, don't watch it. I'm not watching it. It is what it is. But one thing I wanted to say is a lot of these guys, because he's talking about what do you call it, religion and shit, and people are coming after you, and you're trying to paint yourself like this goddamn no, you put a target on your back. You're not a victim, bro. Like people get death threats. I get death threats. I get hate emails. I get hate comments. You get every How about now? Testing. Can you guys hear me? Holy shit. Why is it every time we go deep, like some crazy shit happens, right? There's always some crazy shit. But I ain't gonna hold y'all, bro. Let's go to the next one. Holy, y'all see that? We got into it, bro. We got into it and the audio cuts out. And everything was fine. I was checking the system back there. It was cool. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what? Every single time, people. All right, let's go into it. But like, we gonna go deep. We gonna go deep, bro, because I'm loving this. I'm loving this. All right, so this is from Destiny's stream, but this is him basically dealing with Sneako. Okay, Sneako debating Nick, debating Jadion, and Abba didn't really do much in this debate, but he kind of explained it in a recent video he put out where he was like, hey, listen, I didn't really know a whole lot about what he was dealing with and what he was talking about, so I couldn't really provide a response. Okay, and even the aftermath of this debate, a lot of people were kind of pissed off for even platforming, this guy. I personally think, it's a good thing. We shouldn't ban him. But I do think if guys like this should exist on platforms, especially on political ideas, right? They have to have those ideas challenged. You got to be able to go out and debate people. Otherwise, you're just weak. And as you see how when he gets in the debate with someone like Destiny, it gets crazy, bro. So let's go ahead and start this.
No, I'm ready to hear what you got to say, bro.
Hey,
I'm open-minded.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, Gideon, don't worry. One day you're gonna end up in an article, Gideon, they'll be like, he was on a podcast with Nick Fuentes.
You'll get canceled for this in the future. I'm sorry. You'll get canceled for this in the future. It's my bad. You could give me, article writers, BuzzFeed, and Lasanabi, give me the smoke for that, bro. It's my fault that I brought Nick on.
I'm just figuring it out, man. I was in the, hey, I'm here for it, bro.
Yeah, it's going to be controversial.
Nick, what do you think? We were talking about, I just asked Abba what he thinks the biggest problem in the world is, and he said inflation. Nick, what do you think the biggest problem in the world is?
Lack of Christianity.
Biggest problem in the world right now
it's gotta be lack of God.
Probably the media.
Really?
The media and the
As a
US
Christian now?
apparatus.
Oh,
It's gotta
man.
be number one. How do we fix that? We gotta change the people that are running the media and change the people running the national security state.
Okay.
Inflation's a big problem, but inflation, obviously, it's a symptom of a problem. Inflation is a product of the Federal Reserve. I'm sure, as you know, if you've looked into that. Right. Yeah, I saw you, Sneako, actually watching a documentary about that. And the Federal Reserve is part of the regime. The regime is not just the government. The regime it's like probably 1,000 to 10,000 people that run all the institutions that control America. And America is the empire that runs the world. So it's not just like the president and the government. It's big tech. It's the media. It's the Federal Reserve. It's the banks. It's Wall Street. It's the whole.
All right, guys. Can y'all hear me? Hold up, because it's kind of lagging. I'm seeing a lag back here. Hang on 1 second. Can y'all hear me though? Why is it lagging? That's crazy. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me. I'm gonna just keep going on because I can see it moving. But here's the thing, bro. Here's what he's talking about. You notice how he was bringing up a lot of these conspiracies. What is the greatest issue facing America? The first thing he says was the media. Now, okay, you would give him a point for that, right? The media is one of the bigger problems facing, issues facing America right now. It's increasingly becoming polarized, right? And then when he gets pressed on that a little bit, he's going into now the Federal Reserve. That's all part of it, right? What he's doing, he's throwing out one of those big, well-known grand conspiracies out there. These are the hooks. These are the levers, right? These are what hooks a lot of red pill guys in, right? Because it's like the Matrix, right? You're introduced into a whole new world that you knew or somehow subtly knew behind your mind that existed, but this guy's telling you it exists, and now with the advent of woke media, progressivism, and all that stuff, you're seeing the agenda play out, right? And then he's listing stuff like the Treasury and the Federal Reserve. Everyone knows that the Federal Reserve is a private institution, okay? But let me tell you this. The Federal Reserve don't have the power you think the Federal Reserve has, okay? Yeah, they have the power over those the governments, right? They have the power over the treasury and certain companies and banks, right? To figure out how much money is getting put in the system and things like that. And the monetary policy they've instituted just doesn't work, right? When we do what do you call it? When we reduce interest rates, right? When we drop interest rates to the point where we can't go anywhere but lower, right? Negative, right? Because that most countries are going negative right now. Well, guess what? That's poor monetary policy. See, it wasn't. Listen, you can say the Federal Reserve, but the Federal Reserve was pretty much pushed by a lot of private companies behind the scenes, right? That's what it is. A lot of private companies wanted to make more money, whether it's through war, whether it's through by other means, and we needed a way to do it quickly, right? And a lot of times just printing more money, right, into the system and then, getting that out there, that gets to where you need to get to quick. The downside is you have inflation that basically kicks you in the ass. These guys list that, right? When he's referencing the reserve and feds and stuff like that, he's making them seem like that they're this giant entity that's controlling everything. No, even the Federal Reserve of today, they're being controlled by companies like BlackRock. Okay. Like, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like, you want to talk? Listen, there's a reason why board members, financial documents, all those things are kept hidden. You can't even audit their books. Okay, there's a reason why, because if you find out what's happening, we'd all lose our minds. Okay, but it's not owned by by what you think it is. It's owned by a handful of companies. But what this guy tries to use that to do and then compare that to the media is basically he's redirecting your focus almost. All right, and I just find that pretty interesting.
Holds the whole deal.
It was something about the banks. Shit, I don't know. This might be a little controversial, but I'm gonna say it. I don't watch the debates or nothing, but I was watching the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and I always heard people talk about the worldwide banking system. It was like this big thing. They're like the worldwide banking system. Now,
are you gonna join them? If he invites me, I will. Damn, I don't know how to get. I can't just jump into a random call.
I don't really ton of evidence to support it, but you can look this up for yourself, guys. I was watching the debate live, chilling, sitting down, and during the debate, Joe Biden was talking about something, and then Donald Trump interrupted him. Like, you guys remember how Donald Trump kept on interrupting him, right? And then Joe snapped. He got pissed. He was like, he said, that's why you're gonna lose. And Donald Trump was like, why, Joe? Why am I gonna lose? Because I'm against you. The Democratic Party's against you. The media is against you. Then he said the worldwide banking system. And then he said that, and he like put his head down.
Oh my God.
It was quiet for a good.
Oh man, what are we doing here?
It was so weird because the whole time they were just yelling over each other, and it was just quiet. It was just quiet, nothing, and then they just went to another topic. So I don't know what the worldwide banking system is, but I had like when he said it and the way they got quiet, I was just like, what the fuck just happened? And then I saw no one talk about it, but yeah.
Bro, yeah, no, if you look into the IMF and the World Bank and their practices all over the world, that's a big part of how they're able to control world government. And the shadow banking system too, that's something I've been looking into a lot lately. If you look at like the former British colonies and like the Caribbean, they run the shadow banking system, which is the nexus between the intelligence agencies in the United States and organized crime around the world. That's how they're able to funnel money from the U.S. government to like organized crime, to the cartels, to all kinds of shady things, terrorism that goes on in the world. That's a huge part of the problem globally is shadow.
Okay, see this is the problem I have. This is the problem I have, okay? Because you can see where he's going with this, right? Oh, they're funding gangs, they're funding X, Y, and Z, right? Listen, although there are cases of that happening, right, where you have rogue squads of CIA or elite government agencies, right? FBI could even be, involved in this, right? And they put together, I think there was a lady who talked about this on Joe Rogan once, right? And she was talking about it where the CIA, they have their own paramilitary force, right? And they're like known as the third option to the president, right? So you got conventional, you got drone strikes and things like that, boots on ground, and then you got the third option, which is shadow people coming to kill you. Now that's what this guy is basically alluding to. Now, is the CIA or members of that funding criminals all over the world? I highly doubt it. I really highly doubt that is the case. But I do believe that there are, when it comes to like, because here's the thing, they call it special interests for a freaking reason, people. Okay, they're not just going around funding random gangs or whatever it is, unless there's an interest to that. Okay, so if this, for instance, right, y'all remember we used to be partnered with the Taliban a while back, right? The Taliban used to be, I think it was was it the Taliban? It wasn't Al Qaeda, right? Because Al Qaeda wasn't the thing, but it was the Taliban that the U.S. had to deal with. I don't know if it was the Bush senior era or the Reagan era. Somebody correct me in the chat, but. Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear it? Kendra says no audio. Did we lose audio? Like, what the fuck? Hold up, real quick, people. Did we lose audio like that? Damn, bruh. Can y'all hear me now? Oh, we good? All right, yeah, just y'all gotta be vigilant on that. Just let me know. Okay, but like, yeah, the CIA. If let's say if a certain terrorist leader, right? As long as they are supporting our interests within that country, we'll fund them. Obama's done it. Every single major president has done that. All right. As long as you're on our side, we'll slide you some money. But the moment you're not on our side, then we won't slide you some money. All right. I think one of the conversations they had was about 9/11. I don't know if it was on this podcast or a more recent one that they had, but they talked about the conspiracy of 9/11. And when they talk about, Osama bin Laden used to be on the side of the U.S. Yeah, that was for a time. All right. I'm not well versed in the conflict, because Afghanistan and all those places, man, the freaking conflict there, the different ethnic group, it's crazy. Right. But we did side with those guys in order to take out the people we needed to take out for our special interests. That's how that shit works. But are we going around the globe funding special interest groups through a global banking system? That's generally not the case. All right, that doesn't work. I'm not saying global. He's saying shadow. I don't think that's the case. Okay, if anything else, I think they just launder those monies through legitimate financial institutions. For instance, HSBC Bank just got busted for holding pretty much money laundering for cartels, right? They already known that for Mexican drug cartels, right? All those guys, Colombian drug cartels, they were known at HACB Bank. Is it HSBC Bank? That's Korean, right? Is that a Korean bank? All I know is they're international, and they're known for money laundering. Deutsche Bank is another one. They're a public entity. They're not shadow anything. They're a public entity. All right. And they got busted in a bunch of money laundering freaking schemes with drug lords and, unsavory characters. Okay. And these are big, publicly traded institutions. It doesn't take a criminal. It's not that hard to pretty much get somebody to create a bank account where you can just send money back and forth to, right? These guys make millions of dollars in drug money. They can hire a professional accountant. Okay, if you watch Ozark, you already know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying they have it to the point of Marty Bird. Okay, I'm just saying they have enough money to get a legitimate accountant to make their money look clean the legal way. They don't need to go all shadow and shit like that. I think it's just weird. Again, a lot of the conspiracies, it's in front of you. All right, a lot of these publicly global traded banks would look the other way if the money is right. Okay, just pay attention.
Find it.
Well, we talked about the Sneako, a lot of Jews. I don't know how. how you guys feel about that, but it's true.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm so out of my depth. I don't even know any Jewish people, so this is a tough one.
He knows Dan.
You haven't done a deep dive into conspiracy theories?
I saw my first Jewish person in the UK.
Nah.
That's the first time you met a Jew?
A Jewish person that like had like the black coats and everything. Like I was in London and I ran into one at the airport and I said shalom and he said shalom back.
Mazel.
What the
So
fuck?
Shabbat shalom. He said Shabbat shalom.
Hold up. Because I'm out of my depth, and I gotta ask you this, Nick, because I don't know much about.
Oh, don't
you as
ask
an
him. He's gonna have an
individual.
answer.
Since you've been doing all this online shit, how's that
Oh,
worked out
man.
well for your dating life?
Oh, jeez.
I don't really have a dating life.
Okay, I thought I was gonna ask some
incel.
conspiracy shit.
Identify as sort of like an incel.
Okay. Let's get it. This is where the content's at. Let's get some money. All right. So how is it that you're so well versed in all this stuff? You're charismatic. You got some good jokes, homo, but you ain't getting no bitches. Sneako wants to know.
Well, you see, I'm married to this life because unlike you guys, here's the thing. If I was going out there and I was, maybe not you guys necessarily, but if I was going out there and I was doing the usual thing, if I was like, hey, everybody, like low taxes and, and Trump is great and Biden sucks and this and that, I would probably be like a mainstream person. But the thing is, I'm like totally ostracized from the system. I'm banned
Go
from
support ABBA.
events.
I don't know how to get
I'm
in.
banned
I
from
can't just
airlines.
beg. This looks so bad. I'm hanging out. Listen, if he invites me, he'll invite me.
How you
Okay.
banned from an airline?
Yeah.
Who are you? Wait. What the fuck did you do to get banned from an airline?
The shit talks about.
Yeah, I was put on the federal no-fly list for a year by the government, and then I got off the no-fly list, and then I got banned from Delta and American Airlines, and so now I can only fly United. That's the only one.
Damn.
Listen, I missed me and Albert. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
What the fuck are you doing?
I don't know.
Line ass, bro. Like, listen, your takes have to be wild for them to ban you from a fucking airline, bro. Well, unless United, because United will ban you for not wearing a mask. So I mean, let's I guess we settle down on that front, okay? But I'm not surprised they'll ban you from the shit that you say, bro. But yeah, dude, like that's what it is. We're headed towards a social credit system. So, I mean, they can get your bank accounts. They can fuck with your livelihoods, okay? The new bug wave, okay? That paved the way for, a lot of, the government to basically import, tax systems into your, not tax systems, refund checks and the COVID relief bills. Y'all remember the relief checks? Everyone got the 1,200 COVID checks, right? That got put into direct deposit in your bank account. So listen, it's all getting interconnected, okay? We are getting to that that technological convergence, okay? If you guys ever heard that, that's that convergence where everything is going to be controlled by, certain things, right? Certain algorithms and things put in place, okay? And in this case, speech and how what you say online is going to be part of it. However, this guy's being a little bit disingenuous here, and we're going to find out later because he says some wild shit. And Sneako, since it's his show, lets him get away with that, which I don't agree with.
I just tell the truth. I talk about what's going on. I get a lot of trouble. So I'm banned from all that. I'm banned from Bank of America. I'm banned from U.S. Bank, Chase Bank.
It's no bank.
They send you a letter and they say, "Hey, we closed your personal checking account. You can't bank with us anymore."
Wow, man.
Bro, you're a fucking super villain.
I know. I think I'm a superhero. Actually, you don't know the truth.
All right, so you got to tell us. So you're ostracized from so many things. Come on, there's got to be some women out here just like, man, I fucking hate the world banking system too. Like, yo, Nick, let's talk about this. There's got to be women hitting you up. Don't lie.
There are, Nick.
It's true, but they're all crazy. They're all the women that watch my show have just got to be insane.
Hey, Nick, let me put you on a game. Crazy pussy hits different. I know they're gonna ruin your clothes. They're gonna burn stuff, but crazy pussy. Come on, Abba, tell them.
Yeah, man. There's no reason for you to be alone in this world. You got this, and I think you make some good content. You know what I mean? You make content that people can really enjoy and really connect with. So there's no reason that some of your female fans shouldn't be dateable and sensible in the head.
Yo, Jadion's so confused right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna find one of
I'm
these
still trying to
days.
figure out about this Bank of America situation. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
But
So-
you go ahead.
What,
Go ahead,
like,
Jadon.
my bad. What's your name, bro?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm Nick Fuentes. And that's a tricky question. I
Oh,
don't know.
come on! You just said your religion's more foundational. Come on, man.
But here's the thing. I mean, that's true. And
As racist as black people can be racist.
This is the first time I've ever heard someone say that black people beat white girlfriends. Like, I've never heard this before ever.
That's the
Right.
traditional.
Yeah, hold up. I went too far in. Hold up. Because he said some wild shit like that, bro. Like this dude, I can't. He said black boyfriends beat their white girlfriends. Like that's fucking crazy. Like I can't believe this dude said that shit, bro. That's wild.
God.
that's typically
Holy shit. Oh no.
What?
Fuentes.
Ostracized.
What
as
you got
said.
going on out there?
For the
I mean,
people in me that don't know.
I suppose. I mean, we should have like a Catholic
Jesus.
theocracy or like a Catholic monarchy or something like that. That's sort of my disposition to summarize it.
How do you feel about interracial marriages?
I'm
There we go.
against it.
There we
There you go.
Yeah.
What about you, Gian? Do you believe in mixed love?
Mixed love, man. Love is love, bro. I love my snow bunnies. I
Hey,
love my
really?
Latina.
Jadion,
Love my Asian girls. Nick
wait,
Fuentes, man.
I gotta ask, Nick, how do you feel when you see a black guy just getting with the snow bunnies? Like, is that something that like rustles your jimmies?
She's
Is
gonna
that
get
something you?
BBC, Nick. Your
you not
white
with?
girl's gonna get BBC.
Well, the problem is all these white girls always end up getting their ass kicked.
Oh
And
my
left behind.
God.
That's what typically happens.
Holy shit.
Did y'all like listen? Like I said earlier in this stream, bro, that undertone, what this guy thinks, or the idea of what he thinks interracial relationships are like what black men are to white women. Like he just thinks that we just kick their asses. That's crazy. Like that's the first thing that comes out of his mouth. Oh, you just kick their asses all the time. They get their asses kicked. How? What? Like what does that even mean? If anything, I've heard that more on the other side of things than the other way around. I'm just saying, but we're not pointing fingers here. I'm just saying, like that's like the most craziest shit that you can say. Like it gets worse, people, because when you look at the stuff, it's like I can see why you got banned, my dude. I can see why you got banned. Kendra, shout out to you for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. She said several of my YouTuber clients that make content, Bank of America closed their accounts and banned them from banking with them forever. I can see that. I can see that. They have that right, because at the end of the day, they can masquerade as a private institution, right? We're in this weird. Here's the thing, people. Like, what you got to understand is you got to look at the two conspiracies at play, right? Because on one side they'll try to tell you government control, right? But realistically, it's not that. It's not that, right? Because so in the past, where you have things like communism and things like that, right, where there's an actual conspiracy to centralize power and make sure that everyone, basically becomes a slave of the system, right? That's when government has way too much power. They have way too much power over a lot of institutions. That's where you get into shit like, that kind of fascist, the Hitler dictatorship type nonsense, right? Where they, and I think I would say Russia is a good example of this, because Russia, the government has control of a lot of those private institutions because the government has a firm grip on all of their elites, right? All the elites, listen, you can't talk trash about Putin being a billionaire in Russia, because they're gonna get you. You're gonna end up in a freaking suitcase. Okay, that's what it is. You can't go to China. Okay, you can't be a billionaire from China and talk shit about China. It just doesn't work that way. They're gonna kidnap you. They're gonna either beat you up or that you're gonna find you in a body bag. It is what it is. Some of these countries, right, their government, because they have centralized power, have more power than the corporations and things of themselves. So they control those aspects and they can get you out like that. The US is a different story, okay? Because the US is what you could consider kind of like, in the hindsight, true democracy, where people, we have elected leaders. At least we have the illusion of it now. But back then, it was more of like, you got elected leaders, right? All these guys we stayed, true to the system, right? At least the illusion was a lot stronger back then than it is right now. But the way it's set up here in the West is we have a situation where it's, because you have democracy and so many people, pretty much vying for the helm at that point, they'll form different factions, and then it's all fractured. That's why you have, either different parties, or like you have the dual party system that we have here, right? It just works. And we don't have a one party, so we have a lot of different systems, right? So what ends up happening is, because you have to keep up that type of illusion, well, guess what? You can't stay honest forever, because at some point you're gonna need additional money to raise campaigns, right? Because you can go ahead and do the Bernie Sanders thing, right? I could get $1 from every citizen and whatnot. But if you really want to get that helm, you got to get money. And a lot of times, there's that private institution that walks right in and says, hey, I'll create a super PAC for you, and you go ahead and do this, but later on we got a few phone calls you got to answer, right? That's just basically what it is. And over time, you have a situations where corporations basically control governments through lobbying, okay? Versus the other Eastern world or other parts of the country where you have government control over corporations. We have it backwards over here. So the conspiracy over here is the corporations are winning. The investment banks, these massive multinational corporations, they're the shit that run it, right? Some of them realistically even run some of these governments out here, like in Russia, like, in China too as well. China not to that extent, but like some of these dictator states, right? They're also kind of heavily influenced by the money, like by private institutions. So just keep that in mind. But getting back at it, they'll ban you. They don't give a fuck. All right, they'll get rid of you. It is what it is. You're like, when corporations are in power, you're beholden to them. All right, and if whatever they want is it's pretty much the opposite side of the coin. So they can ban you, and then what are you gonna do? Right? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? How are you gonna maneuver? Right? You can't, because it's a private company, and we were founded on that, right? We were founded on, freedom of speech. So we can't infringe on the rights of Google, because Google is a private company, right? We can't just say, hey, open up your, they have the right, because we set up that system for them to do it. So they're as big as if a government was basically taken over, but we're doing the bidding of private corporations. And we can tell because a lot of money is not being directed to your pockets. It's being redirected to the top. Even the bailout funds that you were supposed to get, a lot of Americans were supposed to get, you didn't get that. A lot of that bailout for the COVID went straight to the top. Billions of dollars were missing. Is anybody questioning that shit? No. Will anyone question that shit? Probably not. But that's how that cookie crumbles, okay? The companies got to get their dough first. It is what the fuck it is. But let's continue.
Oh no!
What?
Are you asking by who?
My black boyfriend.
My black, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you trying to say we out here beating these white women? Is that what you're trying to say?
Nick went
Well, I mean,
way
that
too
is
mask
something that
off.
happens.
Oh
Maybe
no!
not you guys.
Nico, this is your friend.
I just met him on stream. But Jadian, one thing I'm gonna say, you're reading the Malcolm X book right now. You know who else is against interracial marriages?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Yeah.
So he's saying the same thing on the other side.
That's not the point that I'm worried. The fact is that he's blaming all black guys for beating white girls.
No, he's saying they're very likely to. You know what I mean? They might just be like, "Yo, what the fuck is this chicken? You didn't season it properly." And they whoop their ass. That's what he's trying to say. He's not saying all of us do. He's saying a lot of us.
And Jadian, I don't agree with what he's saying, but at the same time, I think it's the equivalent of when black people say that white people shoot up schools. It's the same type of stereotype. So I like Nick's racism. I like that he can be
What?
as racist. Be racist.
This is the first time I ever heard someone say that black people.
Why do you understand that shit? He likes his racism. Like, what the fuck? Like, whoa, come the fuck on, bro. Listen, you don't have to like him. You can agree. You can just hear him out, but you don't have to. You have to go further in and say you like his racism, because like I don't know about you, Sneako, but last time I checked, you don't look white. You don't look right. You look like a product of what he's against. This is a tone deafness that I don't understand. Like you look like a questionable mixed race character, all right? And this guy is saying he doesn't believe in race mixing, and you just said in the same fucking breath you love his kind of racism, motherfucker. What? How can you love his kind of racism? If his kind of racism was a thing, you wouldn't be a thing. This is. Like, what the fuck is this? What? Whoa!
Never heard this before.
Bro.
That's
Right,
the traditional.
right.
That's what
I
white
guess
people.
you
That's
were
what white people.
His
are so
girl was
afraid of.
black. His girl's not even white.
What they do? Well, I guess black, white. That's it's something that happens. I covered a story.
And hold up, he talked about that school shooting, right? Where he saw it was Sneako said that it's equivalent that stereotype, black men, beating on white girls is equivalent to when black guys say white kids shoot up schools. That's stupid, because if you look at those school shootings, if you want to look at the facts and data, all right, majority of them are Caucasian, all right, young Caucasian males. Okay, some of them, they'll veer off, on different races, but majority of the time they are Caucasian males. Okay, participating in this mass deletion spree. Okay, that's all we're saying. The white kid that went to a black church and shot that church up. Okay, that was him. He's part of that demographic. Okay, they look at listen, the FBI, all these government agencies. You don't think they have a profile on people who are likely to do this stuff, where they're likely to go to, what they're likely to listen to, right? You guys don't think they know that? They already have profiles on you. Why do you think some of them watch the manosphere the way they do, right? Listen, on one side, y'all can think, okay, they're policing the manosphere and they're gonna shut us down and X, Y, Z. Okay, fine. There are entities out there that are gonna use the rhetoric that guys like Sneako, guys like fucking this idiot over here, Nick, right? And then you got Andrew Tate. They can use that and further say, okay, well, look, because these demographic of young, white, impressionable male teens, which is true, a lot of the white males, you find them in the MGTOW, you find them in a Redpill, and you find them in the manosphere at large. But you still have the a healthy mix, but it's majority white. Let's just keep it real. Okay? Majority white, but this is because they listen to guys like Andrew Tate, because they listen to guys like all these characters in the manosphere. Well, this is where they get those ideas and then become school shooters. Okay, and they become master leaders because they're listening to the black pill, and the black pill is giving them ideas. They're listening to MGTOW, the MGTOW's giving it. They can blame it on any one of these actors, right? They could do that easily, and we've seen them try. They're doing it with Andrew Tate right now. But then there could be another side to the story, right? Another side to the story is a lot of these guys in this space may be actors. I'm not saying that they could be paid. I'm not saying they could be, but like, you can't put it above a specialized agency like the FBI to put in actors to say, okay, say this, and this, build X, Y, and Z kind of base, okay, and then go from there. And guess what? They can say, let's say if those guys end up listening to guys like the Redpill, like what's that guy's name that is it Ryan McKay? Roman McKay, right? Roman McKay was another one, right? They're trying to tie it to the Redpill, which he was in the manosphere space, but went on that horrendous shooting spree, right? It's type like this. Don't you think that there are elements that want this type of shit to happen? So then they can say, okay, here's a scapegoat that we can blame while still advancing our policies, right? We can say, hey, every time a school shooting happens, if the public wants a source, we can point to one, and the manosphere is increasingly becoming more and more popular, so which makes all of us a target. They can point to that being a source and say, this is why we need more guns, or this is why we need less guns. You see what I'm saying? They can make those two arguments. Think about it, bro. They're actors all over the place. This shit could happen. You remember that Vegas shooting, the Mandalay Bay? Y'all remember that? And how after everything happened, it just went quiet. Dude popped up out of nowhere, shit ton of money, vanished, killed a bunch of people. No one talked about it. Zip, nothing, right? Where did he come from? Where did he get those guns, right? Well, how did he get? We knew he was a gun collector. But what was the other one? The other one was that recent one, the Uvalde shooting, right? How did the 18-year-old kid? Because they're trying to. I did a story on that, but they're trying to blame it on the whole manosphere and Redpill type shit, right? Incels, right? But how did a kid like that get access to thousands of dollars worth of guns? Tell me, how does that happen? Like, how do you take a kid like that and what is for an 18th birthday? He's getting thousands of dollars, $1,800 guns, like multiple. How did he get that kind of money? His dad was like, I don't know. Like, where did he get that kind of money, right? And you see how they can use that and then say, well, look, he's an incel. Oh, where the incels? Oh, look at it. They congregate in the manosphere. Oh, let's take a look at these guys, right? And this is the reason why we need more guns, or this is the reason why we need less guns. All right. All I'm saying is the reason why you guys got to understand how this shit plays out is they're different actors all over the place. It's no different than when a protest go down, some dudes in masks come in and throw a brick through the window to incite everybody else to go crazy. That happens. We saw with the George Floyd incident, right? We saw agent provocateurs that would infiltrate to cause riots, to cause craziness. It happens, okay? So all I'm saying is when y'all come into the space and listen to characters like Nick, Andrew Tate, all these guys, I'm not saying that you shouldn't support them or anything like that. I'm just saying take what they're saying with the grain of salt. Look at them, if anything else, as mere entertainment, nothing else. Because realistically, the ideology gets infectious.
Story about this on my show a couple weeks ago, but that's not the only thing. Here's the thing. I'm halfway kidding about that. The thing is, and I was explaining this to Sneako, is what?
Halfway.
Halfway. Here you go. The thing is I value my identity. And I also have a view of sexuality that I'm Catholic. So I think that people should get married before they have sex. And they should have sex to have kids. And so I want to meet a wife and I want to marry her and have kids. And I want my wife and I want my kids to reflect my identity. And that's something that's important to me. My heritage is important to me. My identity is important to me.
Wait, what's your heritage? What's your identity?
I'm half Italian. I'm a quarter Irish and I'm a quarter Mexican.
So which quarter?
So he's Mexican. Oh God.
Or just like a half Italian is good enough?
No, not necessarily, but preferably someone who's Italian, preferably someone who's just white and Catholic.
Just white.
Someone who's going to look like me.
Close
and
enough.
Generally, I don't think it needs to get too precise, but obviously, if I married a black girl and I had like a black kid, it's like I'm not black, So and I would look at my son and not really be able to identify in that way.
What the fuck?
I want to ask you a question. Are you
wait, time out. That shit just sounds crazy. How would you have a kid look at your kid knowing that that's your kid and not be able to identify with your own DNA? That's fucking crazy. I don't get it. Like whatever, it don't matter what race the other person is. When that kid's born, if they're white, they're gonna come out reflecting your DNA as a father. So what do you mean you can't identify with your kid? Like what? Because they're mixed? Like whoa, this dude is wild.
do you identify more with your religious side or your racial side?
Probably. Well, I think the thing is about people's identities is that people's identities are complex. So it's not so much to say, oh, well, I'm more Catholic than I am white. I mean, I'm both. I'm Catholic and I'm white. But to me, Catholicism, that's a foundation of my worldview.
Okay, so if you met a black woman who was a Catholic, or an Irish or an Italian woman who was like, which one? If you had to pick between the two, which one would you marry?
Well, I would marry neither. But if I had to marry one, that's a tricky question. I don't know.
Come on! You just said your religion is more foundational. Come on, bro.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, that's true. And
here's the thing. You got caught in a catch-22 because you can't just say that your racial identity is important and then your religious identity is important. But then when he says, okay, well, guess what? If all that's important, what if the woman you're dating is a Catholic but she's black? Like, oh, I can't answer that question. It's no, because he got you in a catch-22. You're hiding the fact that you don't want to admit that You would rather date someone that reflects your skin color. You want to keep it white because you just want to keep it white. Don't blame it on religion. Don't blame it on whatever it is you're trying to blame it on, your heritage or whatever it is. I can't share or identify with my kid because he's black. Don't give me that bullshit. You just want to keep it white. And just say it. Just say it. Stop trying to sugarcoat it. But I would tell you one thing. I understand why United Airlines banned your ass, because you're just talking crazy, bro.
I should say the Catholic, but I want to have a kid with green eyes like me. I want to have a kid with my white face. You know, I don't want to have.
Thank you.
You have Mexican in you.
Okay, but I have brown hair. I have white skin.
You know what I realize about white people?
Bro, you know how many light-skinned Mexican people I know?
Yeah, okay. Well, point being is I want to marry someone.
Bro, you're a brown person.
Yeah, but is it that
you're a person of color
that looks like you, or is the ideal person you want to be with is
what's
white?
good, Lone?
You want to be with somebody that looks like key. They always get together. Like if you look at most white couples, they kind of look like siblings.
Jesus Christ.
Bro,
Look,
see,
example,
listen, this is what
white people do.
This is why I'm slowly starting to think Sneako's an idiot, right? Because your follow-up to what he just said, I would like to keep things white. Is that's it? That's all you got to say to follow up with that. And you notice this is a key pattern with, because you know some of y'all said what is it? Who said that in the chat right now? Said that he may have misspoke, right? Y'all you talking about Sneako in this comment, because I don't think he misspoke. I think he just I genuinely think this conversation might be above his head. As we start to watch on, I start to get that feeling that like this guy clearly just doesn't understand at least the seriousness of this conversation that we're having. Either he's trying to be funny. It just doesn't need to be. This is all unnecessary. Just keep it on task. This guy just said something that's just crazy on your platform. It almost seems like, bro, I don't know what to say about that, bro. Let's continue.
When white people say all black people look the same, some black people say all white people look the same. Oh shit, he texted me. Why the fuck would he text me?
So this is my thing, right? You say that your religious side is foundational to you. You're a soldier of Jesus. You're ready to bang for the cross, whatever. And then you telling me you gonna choose somebody over the skin over religion?
Why does he?
I start to question your
He
priorities.
DMs me on like 5 different platforms. He'll be like on Twitter, Discord, my phone.
I wouldn't marry either.
Hold on.
If forced to pick, it would be a difficult question, because you're right. Like as a Catholic, I should say probably, I would marry the Catholic black woman.
So just say it. Come on, bro. Just say it. Say you get with the black woman who shares your cultural and religious values.
Bro, come on, get that black juice.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I just want you to raise children that are also
He
soldiers.
doesn't want black women though. That's the thing.
No one loves God more than the black woman. My grandma loved God. My mama loved God. The black queen in the future is gonna love God. Get you a black queen, bro. See y'all in the chat.
Here's the thing, I cut a lot of black. I said this on my show. I'm attracted to Asian girls or black girls or things like that, but it's about my priority is trying to create a family. And the thing is, like, it's true that I have ideals and I have religion, but also I have an identity as a flesh and blood person. And this is the problem, in my opinion, with society, that we want to make everything about ideas and everything is about our constructed identities. And like when we talk about America, we say America is an idea, and it's about, what are your cultural beliefs? What's your culture? And all of that matters. But we also are at the same time human beings, and we're real physical people in the world with like a definite physical characteristics and definite genetic characteristics. And those things actually matter too, as we're finding out. And so, does my religion matter to me? Yeah, more than anything. But also, I am a man and I am a white man, or I'm a Italian, Mexican,
so
Irish man.
Than Catholic.
And those things matter too. I'm what?
You're more white than Catholic.
Well, I'm both. That's the thing. Both of those things are part of it.
Can you educate Gideon? Gideon keeps saying WBLM. He doesn't know that BLM is a scam. Can you tell him about that? Because I'm getting sick of him yelling WBLM. Yo, Gideon, that's some bot shit that you got to stop saying.
That's another conspiracy thing a lot of these right-wingers like to bring up, okay? And like, Listen, bro, I'm talking about, like, when I say right wingers, I'm talking about these because the right wing isn't the right wing anymore. The right wing has become like the opposite of the left wing. Just like the manosphere, where the red pill is becoming the opposite of feminism, right? And like when you go to the extremes, right, both extremes start to mirror each other. Okay, so listen, bro, listen, this is why we need middle ground conversations. First of all, Sneako, his addition to this, like, it's just I don't think he's ready for this type of conversation, and I don't think. And we're about to get to the part where Destiny comes in because he's not being challenged as much, right? He's saying these crazy takes, and Sneako's coming back with these dumb things. Jadion seems like he's shocked more than anything else, right? And Abba. Okay, so at this point, Abba doesn't say a whole lot, right? He pressures and asks follow-up, but he doesn't like press him as much. And Abba later on basically explained that in another video because people got pissed at him for it. People got mad at Abba. Oh shit. My bad, I dropped it.
So I don't think you see you too surface level. Like I didn't even agree with the protest.
People got mad at Abba, right? People got mad at Abba for not pushing him. But Abba was like, yo, I didn't really know a whole lot about this guy, right? I didn't know his like ideology and all that shit. So I didn't really know how to basically, combat that and what he was saying, which in hindsight, it kind of makes sense, right? But then again, Sneako, you brought this dude on your platform. You just let him sit here and say, "Oh, I want to keep things white. I'm a white, at the end of the day, America." Y'all see that long, convoluted background he went to, American. I'm a man, and we talk about biology, and I want, just say it. Stop doing this whole social, pressure in society and crap, and hide this bullshit under fucking conspiracy. Ain't no conspiracy here, bro. You just want to keep it white. And you notice at the end of this here saying that it's necessary for racists to have their own, like, to keep it the same way, right? He said that it's necessary, the numbers play out. He said that towards the end there. All right. Necessary for what? Other than just keeping, the status quo. Listen, if you're gonna have a melting pot, an idea like America, like he tries to say it, America is just an idea. If you have a melting pot idea like America, where you're supposed to have a country built on immigrants, right? Because America is not a white country. It's not a white country, okay? The Europeans and all the other foreigners came in, pretty much booted out the domestic people that lived here, okay, and imported black slaves and other foreign slaves to help build this melting pot that we're in. So if your idea of America is just keeping things white, then you are mistaken, okay? And when you're talking about biology, I like when he tries to put biology. I'm a man. I like to put things in the mix, right? Listen, as a man, your biological function, when you see a female form, it don't matter what color she is. It don't matter what race she is. When you gaze upon a female form, when you see the curves, when you see just the way if she's wearing a dress, just the way it just hits it so right, and it just hugs her body, just like real tight, and you see everything, and it makes you want. It just makes you imagine what it could be. When you see that, you don't see skin color. Okay, you don't see a black girl. You don't see an Asian girl. You see a woman, someone who's the opposite sex from you, and you would want to procreate with that. That's your biological function. You're not going to look at a woman and say, "Oh, well, yeah, but she's not white." So, I mean, granted, you can have your preference. Just say it. I ain't got a problem with that. But then when you're hiding it under these, we got to keep the status quo, and everyone's saying America used to be an idea, but no, it's still that idea. It's a melting pot of immigrants, okay, and that's what it is. And when you have a melting pot of immigrants, it don't matter what happens. Like, people are gonna race mix. People are gonna find the other gender attractive, and they're gonna procreate with it, okay? And sometimes through long-term intercourse, right? You form long-term relationships. It's just how that shit happens, bro. Like, it's weird how this is how they try to hide this bullshit under conspiracy, bro. It's weird.
Yes, bro. Me personally, I feel like, bro, I'm just saying that. But me personally, I feel like the Black Lives Matter protests were the biggest wasted opportunity in Black American history, because at any time in American history, when you galvanize that many people, you can make the biggest change.
So why are you
And
saying
I feel
WBLM?
like, oh, shut up. Let me finish. What I'm saying is, I feel like throughout those protests, I think the only bill that was ratified was like a George Floyd bill that to this day, Joe Biden has yet to sign. But there's been an Asian Lives Matter bill after the fact that has been signed. And I feel like there's been an LGBTQ bill that has been signed after the fact. So I feel like the George Floyd protest was the most wasted opportunity in Black American history.
Okay, so why?
I've said that. I've said that from the get-go, bro. I agree with what Jadion is saying. The George Floyd protest was very significant. And here's the thing. Normally, because I'm one of those conspiracy buffs, bro. I don't like, listen, bro. Like, listen, I understand this shit, bro. Real power comes when both sides understand that it's not a racial issue. It's a economics issue. Okay. And once both sides realize that and come together and realize that we're both down regardless of our skin color, well, guess what? It makes the people who are in power, who want the status quo to be the status quo, nervous, because now the house isn't divided anymore. And the reason why Judge Floyd was such a wasted opportunity is because George Floyd, when that happened, when people saw that officer just sitting on this man's neck and he's pleading, crying for his mom. He's mom, before he died. The entire world, not just America, the entire world looked at that and say, yeah, that's fucked up. Right. And there hasn't been a situation that has garnered worldwide attention like that, especially on that racial injustice, than George Floyd since the civil rights era, with the Birmingham situation where they were beating people up with the buses and shit like that. It hadn't garnered that much notoriety. When they were crossing the bridge and you see these people getting attacked, but it was peaceful, right? It didn't garner that much attention until that George Floyd situation. So when you're looking at that, right, the whole world came together and said, that's fucked up. But not only that, the whole world started to go through a kind of awakening. It wasn't even a world, but mainly the US. We started to go through an awakening. We saw the right, even the far right coming out and say, yo, whoa, this is fucked up. Good officers are not supposed to behave this way, right? The left came out. We were at that point, almost to the point where we're going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, right? And guess what? That was getting a lot of people nervous. And not just people in the streets. I'm talking about people up top, right? The special interest groups that see themselves as their power being threatened, right? Because that's the truth. The real truth is the racial divide, all this, you know, the gender inequality and this, the you know, LGBTQ and all this it's all a distraction. It's all a distraction. Your real problem is economical. That's it. Because even you even look at the inception of America. There were white slaves, black slaves, Latin slaves, Native American slaves. Slaves were all over. It wasn't just blacks. It was everywhere. But the unique thing about that was they were all slaves. They were all slaves. They were all in the same situation. The crazy thing is, if they all realized what was going on, what would happen, these people would band together and revolt against the masters. They have more control. So what do these guys do, right? And it doesn't just happen because even this happens even amongst black slaves too. But what they do is they dole out privilege. This is how they divide you, right? They dole out privilege. And the first easy form of privilege to dole out is one made amongst racial lines, right? So if you see an Irish slave, you know, being put in the same situation as an African slave, right? They both know they're getting been beaten down, right? Well, guess what? As a slave master, you don't want a united front to rebel against you. So what are you going to do? You're going to give the white-looking slave, even though he's a filthy Irishman or a Italian guy like Mr. Nick over here, or a Hispanic slave, right? You get more privilege over that guy because he's black. That's what it was. And it was easier, right? So then these guys, once they have their little privilege, right, they don't want to give that up. Why would you want to give up your privilege? No. So you would do what you can to keep that privilege by subjugating the class below you. In this case, the black slaves, all right? But even then within the black slaves, You don't want unity. So what would you do as a slave master? Well, you handpick and choose who goes in the house and who stays in the field, who gets more privilege over who doesn't. So then even amongst themselves, they fight. And they will fight to keep their position of privilege and keep others down. We see it here today in the modern times. It's here today in the modern times, right? You see it here. Different classes of people. What do you see in an economic class? The middle class, right? Or the upper middle class. The upper middle class will shit on the poor or the middle class in order to keep their status, right? And by upper middle class, I'm talking about people who are making $500,000 to $700,000 a year. That's like upper middle class. Okay, don't think a little $50,000 is gonna cut the check. No. You make it 500,000 above. You upper middle class. Okay, a year. Okay, when you get into the millions, you up there, right? But like realistically, and some people might say, oh, it might be different. They'll say a $75,000 a year, it's upper middle class because of coast. No, you're just coasting because a $75,000 on average, 80,000, you could pay a lot of bills, have things left over. But with inflation and how things are going right now, $75,000 ain't gonna be nothing. It's not gonna be nothing in the next few years. It's not gonna be nothing. But you have these different class of people who, in order to hold on to their position of privilege, they basically enforce the status quo. That's just how that shit works. So when I see stuff like this that he's talking, it's just wild to me when I see that. George Floyd, he's right, was a wasted opportunity. All right, because everyone came together and saw it was bullshit. They saw that, okay, there is a problem. And it wasn't on the economic front. It was on the power front, okay? And I've been saying this if y'all go subscribe to my political channel right now, because I've been saying this back in 2021, even when I covered the George Floyd situation, okay? I covered all of that shit back then, right? I talked about it. I'm like, listen, when these guys realize that it's not because in this case, it was a power issue. It was a state killing United States citizens, right? It wasn't a black citizen at that point, right? Because that could easily be you. Right? It wasn't a black citizen. It wasn't a white. It was a United States citizen, this melting pot. And when everyone saw that shit, right, it was like, okay, this is what it is. It's not because you're black. It's not because you're white. It's because their state is keeping the boot, literally the boot, on the necks of the civilians. And everybody saw that. And George Floyd was that representative, right? And what ended up happening is the elites freaked out. And they had to gain control back of the narrative, okay? And what happened, right? Well, the easiest way to get the right wing, I'm talking about the far right, to basically change their minds rapidly is to basically play up the stereotypes. So what do? All of a sudden, the first protests we saw were peaceful. That as the movement started to get stronger, we started to see agent provocateurs, right? And opportunities come in, right? And these guys will vandalize, break, basically do everything in these neighborhoods, right? Some of them in wealthier neighborhoods that would trigger some of these far right wingers saying, yep, yep. See, I already knew it. See, I thought they can protest peacefully. I thought they were going to keep it peaceful, but look at them. They're reverting back to their old ways and destroying shit. How can I support that? And little by little, people start to divide, right? Everyone started to divide. Everyone was dividing their own way because you had this bad actors who basically came in and then they helped push the narrative that this is what all black people do in their neighborhoods when shit happens, which is not the case. I mean, you go to white situations, if you want to call it out, white people will fucking riot over a basketball game. Okay. Don't even get me talk about these white people in Europe. The wrong soccer team lose, they rioted. Okay, so don't give me that bullshit. It's only black people that riot, but they use the media to play that shit up. And George Floyd became a missed opportunity for us to really wake up as a nation to realize that not only we're economically being fucking oppressed, but we're also being oppressed by the state, like the laws, all of our rights being stripped away slowly. We lost that. All right, so y'all got to pay attention. This is how easy it is for people to come in and just say things to divide you. The last stream I had, somebody came up here and said, you're either right or you're left. There's no middle ground. How the fuck can you sit there and say that? Like how the fuck in the right mind can you sit there and say there's no right, there's no left, there's no middle ground, you're either right or left? That's stupid, dude. The people who say that are people who are not educated and don't want to think, right? And that's crazy how the world is going in right now. We're all getting to that point where either you have to be on both sides. You have to not be on both sides. You have to be on one side or the other. Otherwise, you're only pretending, which is crazy to me. Like we've lost all sense of like rational thought, rational speak. It's all gone.
Could have changed so much.
So why are you saying WBLM?
The way, though, like you say, oh man, you gotta keep the chat lit, man. You know how to galvanize some people, man. Like,
okay,
bro.
so you're just hyping it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's being provocative.
Don't hype up my chat with that fucking scam. Do you know where all the money for BLM went?
Well, my nigga, I'm not stupid, bro. No, I feel like you if this nigga, if you think I'm just some like liberal, like
Yeah, sometimes. After
It's all-
Pokemon, I can't even lie to you. Yo, Nick, can you tell them about the bell curve? Can you tell them what you said to me? That was the first time I ever heard a white dude say that. What do you think about the IQ thing? This is gonna fucking shake it up.
Oh god.
Yeah, you guys aren't gonna like this, but I just want to preface this by saying this, okay?
Am I gonna join? If Sneako ever checks his phone, yeah.
People, okay, I'm a friend to all people.
Oh, you know some crazy shit. Yo.
When people say that, they about to say something racist. It's no different than saying, "Oh, I have a black friend," but it's no different. You just know they about to say something wild, bro. Just know that. Whenever somebody prefaces that shit, they about to say something crazy.
I love black people. Okay, I love Hispanics. I love Asians. But
Do you
here's
know
the
where
thing.
this is going? Whenever this starts up like that, you know where it's going.
You know where it's going, okay? And I told Sneako this, we call this race realism, okay, which is to say that race is real. Like it's not fake, it's not skin deep, race is real. There are different races and there's meaningful differences. And one of the things is that on average, the races have different IQs. And so on average, Asians have the highest IQ, and on average, blacks have the lowest IQ. And that's why I told Sneako. And
y'all see Sneako? Y'all see what he was doing? Hold up.
There are different races and there's meaningful differences. And one of the things is that on average, the races have different IQs. And so on average, Asians have the highest IQ, and on average, blacks have the lowest IQ. And that's why I told.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the Asian dude who's cheering like this is a dummy on stream. His IQ ain't there. Okay, where you have two black dudes right there who I would say have higher IQs than these two clowns on the other side here. I'm gonna just say that right now. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that. I can't believe this man just said Asians have the highest IQ and then blacks don't. Wow, listen, bro. Like this is I might get triggered, people. I might get triggered. I might get triggered. I might get triggered, people. I don't know.
And no, that's average. Okay, it's not. I'm not saying black people are dumb. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you average it out,
you're kind of saying that.
I'm not. I'm saying on average. Well, I'm saying that. I think that actually it's a fact of nature, which is kind of sad in a way. I think humans.
Fact of nature. Wow.
If you look on TikTok in this example, and TikTok is like the worst. It's like the worst window to human inequality there is, because you could scroll through TikTok and see the most beautiful person ever, rich and objectively beautiful, and they're getting all this fame and all these likes, and then you scroll up and then you see like a deformed person who's like they have roaches on their wall and they're like, you know, and it's like that's actually kind of a tragic and sad thing. And anyway, so I think human inequality as a whole is unfortunate, but here's why it matters. When you look at all of the disparities in the United States, as an example, you look at income inequality between the races, wealth inequality between the races, and all these other inequalities, people will say, well, if we're all starting from the same place but ending up in a different place, what happened in the middle? Racism, probably, or something. If whites and blacks.
No. You can't sit there and blame that on IQ, bro. You can't sit there and blame the economic situation that African American communities are in right now is because of low IQ. You can't sit there and fucking conveniently ignore the fact that there is real systematic oppression that happens in this country. Like, listen, what the fuck are you talking? What the fuck? That's an actual thing, okay? When it came to giving out loans for mortgages, that was a completely different setup, and that was strategically done by either homeowners or homeowners that didn't want to sell to people of color, right? They didn't, or associations that didn't want suburban areas a certain color. Okay, so they had influence. It wasn't because black people were dumb. Matter of fact, when we had our own shit, we were prospering. We were growing. All right. We had our own Wall Street till y'all niggas bombed it. Well, I want to say you because you're Mexican. You're a Mexican Italian, Nick. Like, what is this? So you're gonna try to you see how you really, oh my God, because you see this argument on the right most of the time, right? Where they try to use it as, oh, look at the economic status of a lot of these neighborhoods. Look what they do, right? If we're supposed to start out equally, why do we end up this way? Yeah, there's this generational trauma. That's a real thing. Okay, there's income inequality is just extreme in Black communities. Hey, white folks, y'all catching up here too. Don't get it twisted. You go to neighborhoods right now, there's a bunch of fucking broke white people moving in. It is what it is. Y'all catching up to the curve because at the end of the day, it's an economics issue. Your wealth is being squeezed to the top. That's a real thing, but it's not because your IQ is low or their IQ is low. Sometimes it's just because there's situations that are put in place designed for one community to make it and the other community to struggle a little bit. But we still thriving. So I don't understand this. Like, this is crazy to me. Dude, like he's trying to sit here and make that argument. Oh my God.
And Asians and Hispanics are all the same, and they all start out from the same, starting point, but they all end up wildly unequal. Well, something must happen along the way. Discrimination, racist policies, etc. Well, if people are not starting from the same place, then that would explain how a system which may even have affirmative action or maybe, the opposite of racist would still be producing unequal results. We have to understand this if we want to create policies where the country can be coherent and harmonious and where everybody is treated fairly. So that's my belief. If we want to understand the world, can't understand without understanding the reality of race and what that means.
You just said a whole lot of fucking nothing, bro. You just said a whole lot of nothing. Like I feel like he's just making these broad statements and trying to. It's almost like he's trying to make something stick. And I guess if you're an idiot, you can buy it. Hold on, let me play this shit again. Y'all need to hear this shit.
Nation, racist policies, etc. Well, if people are not starting from the same place, then that would explain how a system which may even have affirmative action or maybe, the opposite of racist would still be producing unequal results. We have to understand this if we want to create policies where the country.
We're not all equal. We're not all equal. Even within the same races, we're not all equal. There's and here's the thing, because he mentioned something earlier where he says Asians on average have higher IQs. I guess it comes down to how you measure up intelligence, because there's some studies out there that would say, hey, the current measurement of IQ might be a little bit different. For instance, there are people for a long time thought Einstein was stupid. They thought some of these other guys who are go on to be fucking multi-millionaires or at least change the world technologically, they were end up looked at as idiots in school, right? So if you're measuring IQ based off of the current educational standards that we're measuring it, okay, I get it. But I think that it could be a little bit different. People see the world a little bit differently. And yes, people start from different levels, okay? But it's not because of, affirmative action or all this stuff. Like, if anything, affirmative action does worse for Black people than it does to help them, okay? But if you let people play along their natural lines, you'll find a healthy mix. Okay, for instance, right, you'll see Asians dominating universities enrollments, but does that mean that they're smarter when it comes to creativity or when it comes to innovation, things like that? No. Okay, well, how can you tell that? Go to most Asian countries, all right, it's not the case. So some of them are financial giants, don't get me wrong, right? Some of them are like advances in tech, and other countries just copy intellectual property. So there you go from there, right? It just is what it is. Like I don't see how he's trying to make that kind of connection. It's just crazy that they're just letting them go through with this.
Country can be coherent and harmonious and where everybody is treated fairly. So that's my belief. If we want to understand the world, can't understand without understanding the reality of race and what that means.
Got it.
So do you think there's a superior race?
No, I don't. I don't think there's superior people. I think that people are unequal.
Well, hold on. But he thinks some people intrinsically have higher IQ than other people.
Okay. Oh, Destiny's on. I was gonna say, bro, because like, what do you mean you don't believe in what do you mean you don't believe in superiority? And you just said that Asians and whites are better than Black people when it comes to smarter. So clearly you're saying that whites and Asians are superior to Black people, which is not the case. because you got Sneako over here. He's Asian, and his IQ is definitely not superior to any of these dudes on the street. Just saying. And this Nick Fuentes guy seems like a freaking dummy. And let me play this because Destiny about to show his ass up.
On average,
My best
all
friend,
else
by the
equal, yeah, a white person will be smarter than a black person.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
I need to hear Nick say it because he believes that, just so we're all on the same page.
Have you met Gideon before? Gideon, Destiny.
Hi, what's
What's
up,
up,
buddy?
Destiny?
I love stealing your content on stream. How's it going?
We're just letting you know, on behalf of the Black delegation, we've elected Destiny to speak on this matter.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, well, before we
Don't do any liberal racism, though. You got this.
I'm a huge liberal racist, okay, but I'm racist towards all people, so we're good. Okay, just before we jump into this, okay, I just be clear about who you're talking to, what the goal of the conversation is, okay? Nick is a political movement, a political ideology. His goal is not to sell you truth or to sell you a critical thought process. His goal is to sell you his political ideology. So if he comes across some idea that's contrary to what he believes, or some thought or fact that is contrary to his beliefs, he's not going to tell you that, and he's not going to incorporate it into his world. He's only going to give you the pieces of information that he uses to sell his ideology. I think sometimes we're so hungry to talk to people that disagree with us. We think that everybody has valid things to say. Everybody's got valid points to consider, but you have to keep in mind what they're selling you at the end of the day. If I was to have a conversation with Nick about the value of, like, what do you think about, like, the soft sciences? What do you think about, like, psychologists and political scientists, Nick, in general?
Me?
Yeah.
I think there's some validity to that, but I don't put a lot of stock in empiricism.
Sure. So he doesn't put a lot of stock in those things, okay? The bell curve was written by a psychologist and a political scientist. These aren't genetics researchers. These aren't intelligence researchers. These aren't people that did huge dives into meta. It absolutely is.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Anybody who listens to that, what he just said, because he said, oh, there's a bell curve, and you got to listen to the bell curve, and it just says, on average, Asians and whites are smarter than blacks. And the people who created the bell curve weren't even intelligent scientists. Like that wasn't even their field of study. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy to me. So, like, dude, Destiny with the fucking facts, okay? And he's also right. This guy is his first and foremost thing is to sell an agenda. He's the right-wing version of this. This is the clear agenda at play. Why do you think the first thing he said when the first question was asked, what is the problem going on in the state, the country right now, facing the country? He said the media. Oh, well, because, people are putting out. Yeah, it is. But then why was that your concern? Right. And then it makes sense. And Destiny's calling him out on it because you are basically putting that out there to sell your version. Right. It's like saying that guy's bad, but then you're doing the same thing, too. But you just snitching on him to get him out of there, right? Or to elevate yourself. That's basically what the game is. And you will see as this stream goes on, Nick starts to really hate Destiny because Destiny is calling him out. He exposed him at his core. Like, you know how everybody wears a mask? They come online, they sell you one thing, right? And they mask it underneath something else like freedom, truth, equality, knowing what's really out going on, right? But Destiny exposed that. It ain't about that, bruh. It ain't about all the truth and, I believe in not mixing race and not sharing my biology. You don't believe in it. No, bro. It's about selling your ideology. You want to go into that upper political echelon. You want to springboard yourself up there to the extremophiles of the world that are up there in the right-wing talking point space. That's just what you want to be up there with the Ben Shapiro's. You kind of look like a Ben Shapiro, if you ask me, right? You want to be up there with the Ben Shapiros, the Jordan Petersons, all those guys. You want to be among all of them, so you're going to say some shit and then mask it underneath, oh, they're out to get you matrix bullshit to try to get ahead. But Destiny calls you, and y'all watch. As we go throughout this thing, he starts to really hate Destiny, bro. Like, he does not like him at all.
It's true. Charles Murray is a political scientist, and Richard Bernstein is a psychologist. That's fine. We're not talking about, but I'm just saying that the book, The Bell Curve, if that book was about any other topic, you would dismiss it so quickly because of the scientific disciplines that those authors come from. You wouldn't even consider it for a second. But because it absolutely is true, and you know it. But because you just told me that you didn't put much stock in those disciplines. But you're willing to cite.
I didn't put stock in empiricism. I said I don't put as much stock in empiricism as you do because you believe that everything is attributable to empirical knowledge, that everything should be derived from studies. I don't believe that all truth is derived from studies. I think we could derive truth from experience, and I think we could derive truth.
He doesn't believe that truth can be derived from following a scientific process from studies. That's what this clown is saying. You see how when a real one steps in, you see how the explosion starts to happen. He starts to get exposed, right? This is something Sneako should be doing because this is Sneako's platform, right? But he's not doing that because Sneako doesn't have the mental capabilities to call him out on that shit. But you see how all of a sudden he's backpedaling on this. He's getting them, bro. This is crazy.
Logic, and we can recognize patterns. I don't think that we necessarily need to go and this is what you and Vosh and Hunter Avalon do is study, show me a source, show me a study. And I think that studies can aid understanding, but I don't think that's the end all be all of knowledge. That's what I'm saying. And you're wrong about if I thought
this. This is why I'm worried about guys like Nick Fuentes. Who else in this space says this, right? We know the last live stream we covered, Andrew Tate, when he went up against Destiny, you guys go about with your internet facts, right? I don't believe anything I read on the internet. I don't believe all the studies, right? Yeah, of course, there are platforms that exist there to misdirect and mislead you, but that's where the research process comes into play. And I schools don't teach this shit anymore, but not a lot of people know how to do a proper research, right? They listen to one side, they let it spoon-fed, as long as it matches with what they feel, they roll with it, right? But a lot of us lost the ability to do proper research. I don't know what they teach y'all in schools anymore, but that's what it is. And now here's this guy who's part of that whole crowd, right? I'm not saying he's manosphere, but he's definitely going to try to, you mark my words, this guy's going to use the manosphere to try to springboard himself up there, right? He's probably going to garner a lot of followers for this. I mean, I've seen people talk about, hey, how he might not be wrong in his ideas. So we already know there's an overlap. So he's going to garner some followers from there. They're going to buy his book. They're going to buy his little fucking weirdo merch and shit. But at the end of the day, bro, this is what these guys are here to do. They're here to sell you an ideology, right? They tell you don't believe in the facts. Don't believe in the scientific process. No, because the scientific process is wrong. I know the truth. What the fuck? Not all studies. What are you talking about? This is how we've lost truth in all discourse. This is how we lose it. Because guys on the right who advocate for the truth are saying we don't have to listen to the process. Don't listen to the process. And guys who are supposed to be on the truth, like the guys on the left, they're scared to share their ideas. They're scared to debate people. Everything must be canceled because of my fragile little ears. Y'all niggas are fucked up. Like, this is crazy.
Not that race and IQ was a wrong argument. I wouldn't push it. I wish it was wrong. I've had my entire life destroyed. These things. You think
I'm chilling, man. Reacting to some of these fools.
I'm banned from airlines and banks. I'm under investigation by the FBI, subpoenaed by Congress, in part because I say these kinds of things. So no, I go where the truth leads me. I'm a critical person. If you were to present to me,
okay, how do you present the truth if you don't believe in most studies? You see wait. I thought white people were supposed to have high IQs, right? I thought white folks are supposed to have higher IQs. So I don't see any IQ present in this dumbass over here because how do you trust what you know is true if you don't believe in studies? You fucking moron. Like, oh my God. Like, but you're supposed to be white, right? You're supposed to have higher IQs than black people. Get the fuck out of here, bro. This is crazy. This is the Alex Jones syndrome.
Answer for why, when the Europeans colonized Africa in the late 19th century, they didn't have written language and they didn't have the wheel, and like why that is consistent with everybody evolving exactly the same way and everyone being exactly the same. I would probably be an egalitarian like you, but
no, it's not. It's just the idea is that, like, if there's differences between large groups of people throughout all of human history, the default position is to not know. You're the one that's asserting the positive claim of, oh, well, it must be because of biology. But we don't know that. Nobody knows that. There are different indicators that maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But to pretend that we have one grand narrative that can explain the differences between all the groups in all of human history, you're not going to find any academic discipline that's going to come together and agree on that. These are all hotly contested topics.
It's related to religious dogma, right? Because I saw this happening on the left-wing side of things, right? Where they started let's get rid of the church, and you almost seem to start to deify the government. Whatever the state says, it goes, right? And that's where the whole sheep mentality, when it gets attributed to the left, because they started to believe, which is the funny thing, the left was supposed to be anti-government, right? Liberals, anti-government, but all of a sudden now there was a switch. Now all of a sudden we need the government. Everything the government says goes because they're scared to have their ideas challenged, right? They don't want to buck the system, buck the status quo. On this side of the fence, you got Nick Fuentes and guys, even some of the guys in a red pill talking about they got the truth, and they're using these different analogies. Yes, they'll use certain things that connect with left wingers, right? Where left wingers want to silence people and silence the other side. That's true. That's a real thing, right? So these guys will take that truth and then skip it into saying dumb shit that like black people aren't smart than Asians or white people. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Right? No, we're just gonna ignore the fact that some of the inventions out here that were invented by black folks were also kind of whitewashed. We're not gonna talk about that, right? Like, what are we talking about? Like, this is how they start to fool you. And think about this: if you were a young, disenfranchised male, your life sucks, right? Your girlfriend left you for a black guy, right? You're kind of angry, and you come on, you see Nick Fuentes talk about, I don't believe in race mixing, keep it white, right? You look at it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I agree. This guy doesn't. He's talking right. Those guys over there took our jobs. Yeah, he's speaking facts, right? Yeah, facts. I'm angry. Yeah, the girl, she left me for a black guy. Fuck her, man. And this is how all this shit just starts to accumulate. You don't think those type of guys listen to this idiot? That's why he himself don't have a girlfriend. Imagine what kind of losers listen to him. Like, imagine where their brain's at. Imagine being a wife of somebody that listens to someone like Nick Fuentes. I'm gonna just leave it right there.
That's all I'm saying. And also, when you say, I notice that people like you, sorry, and I'll shut the fuck up. People like you will always say things like, oh, like you just want to see study. But I'm a man of truth and experience and logic, and I recognize patterns. Bro, a pattern for a human is you have like 2 bad experiences with somebody, you write them off completely. That's not going to get you towards truth with a capital T. That's just going to tell us your subjective frame of reference, right? Like, you might eat like 2 rotten pieces of fish and tell everybody that fish is the worst food in the world. That's no more truthful than doing a study on something, or it's even less truthful, right? I don't like this. I don't like this hand waving all the empirical data or all
guys. Don't forget to hit the like button.
Experience, because you can go down so many stupid roads with that. Like, obviously, everybody's seen somebody do it.
Nick, who do you think is going to win the race war? Blacks or whites?
What the fuck? You see what I'm talking about? Sneako, look at Abba's face. Look at the 2 black people on the panel here after he just said that dumbass question as a follow-up to what Destiny just said. Yo, Sneako, you're supposed to be Asian, right? You over here celebrating when Nick says that you have high IQ, right? Maybe you like the fact that, this white guy over here is stroking your Asian ego, okay? But he's saying you have high IQ, and you come back with that kind of follow-up. Who's gonna win the race war? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are we talking? We're not even on the same conversation, my guy. Like, what is this? This guy, Sneako, is not prepared for this conversation at all. Like, he's not. It's just, oh my God, bro.
Well, unfortunately,
Depends on who the Jews side with.
Well, there's some truth in that, but unfortunately for us, by 2100, the world is going to be full of Africans. I mean, by 2100, it's going to be 10 billion people, and 5 billion of them are going to be Black Africans. So I don't think, and frankly, I don't think any of us are going to win in that scenario, because the biggest content is going to be sub-Saharan Africa, and it's going to be like World War Z. They're just going to, it's that scene in World War Z when they're on top of each other to get into Jerusalem.
What? Are you hearing this, asswipe? It's gonna be like World War Z, sub-Saharan Africa. What? Like, what? No. What are you trying to say? Wait, talk about. What are you trying to say with that kind of imagery you put out there? Because my image of World War Z were dirty, poverty-like kind of zombies with tattered clothes, right? Piling up top of each other in slum areas, right? So are you saying that Africa or Africans trying to immigrate to different parts of European countries are equivalent to World War Z zombies that are tattered and rotten and all that? This dude, bro, I can't. Yo, I can't, dog. What the World War Z? Yo, look at Jadion, bro. Look at Jadion, bro. Oh my God, I can't do this, dog.
That's what it's going to be like in America and Europe with this population explosion happening there.
So it's going to be a bunch of African people acting like ants climbing up over each other.
Yeah, trying to get into Western.
What? Oh!
countries.
Yo, that's it. You fight it for next white.
Dude, I'm not gonna fight for a fucking race, dog. That's cringe as
Oh,
fuck.
he's gonna be off to the side streaming it in the corner while there's a war.
Bro, Destiny, we're gonna draft you in to the black side, bro. You can be with us.
As long as I get an N-word pass, we're good. Okay, I'll fight for that. No, there's not even the idea even of race wars falling on those exact lines. I thought there was a really funny question earlier. I don't know if JD or Sneako asked it. When you asked Nick, what kind of a woman are you looking for? Are you looking for like a 50% Italian, 25%?
That was Abba.
That was me, bro.
Whatever.
You can't recognize who it asked.
2/3. I had a 2 out of 3 chance. I had a 2
Let me
out
get
of
my
3 chance.
credit.
I had a 2 out of 3 chance. Okay, you did it. Okay, yeah. Abbott asked a question. Yeah, like what do you even look for? What does it even mean to be black in the United States, right? You've got like African Americans, people that immigrate from fucking Kenya or Nigeria. They don't consider themselves black in the same way that like descendants of slaves are black. Nick doesn't consider himself white the same way that like somebody that's ethnically Nick doesn't consider himself white the same way that like somebody that's ethnically fucking Russian or German or Scandinavian considers themselves white. Like these are like super subjective concepts.
You just obfuscate. All you do is obfuscate. We know what black people are, bro. We know we can look at people.
That's not true, bro. Look at a picture of Obama.
I gotta pause this. Let me get my mud back in here. You see how he's all of a sudden trying to say, "Oh, you're obfuscating." He's not obfuscating, bro, because you're making it seem like immigrants are like painted with one brush. You're that kind of white person that sees all people as one of the same. It's like, oh, y'all just the same, right? Because no, they're different kinds of black people, just like they're different kinds of Hispanic people, just like they're different kind of white people, like you're Italian and you're Mexican. Like you're not even really white, bro. You're freaking mutt. That's what you are, dog. Like if we're just being real about it, right? But you're sitting here. He's trying to make a point. They're different types of black. They're Jamaicans. Jamaican blacks are different from Nigerian blacks, right? And here's the thing. Obviously, when we leave our countries, you know, the world sees us as the same until you get to understand our cultural differences, right? You see us on skin color, but our mannerisms might be the same. The way we approach people might be the same. Even down to our food are different, right? Not our mannerisms are the same, different, right? It's all different. We may look the same, but our culture is completely different. For instance, like as a Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian. I don't like it. It is what I'm Nigerian. It is what it is, right? Maybe you consider me black. I consider myself black, but when I go to Nigeria, I'm Nigerian. When I gotta fill out my application for certain things, were you born in United States? No, I'm from Nigeria. I'm Nigerian. So even though I'm treated black here in this country, at the end of the day, I'm still a Nigerian. You see what I'm saying? And then when I go back home, I'm Igbo, right? Because they're tribes. It breaks down further into tribes. You see what I'm saying? That's just how that shit splinters. So Igbo is different from Yoruba, which is different from Hausa, which is different from Fulani. And Fulani is everywhere in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, right? They're all over the place. They span all over the region from West Africa all the way to the east side of Africa, borderline Somalia. The Fulani tribe is all over the place, okay? So what type of black are you talking about, right? And even most Africans, they would say South Africans are different types of Africans. You can just separate them from the rest of the continent. They're a completely different breed of people, but they're black, majority of them. So what are you saying? But then when you get pressed on it to go deeper into your thoughts, oh, you're obfuscating. You're obfuscating. No. You're trying to obfuscate because he just brought up facts. You can't just say black people and paint us with a broad brush, not knowing that we're different. We're all different, bro. Like, what is this? This is crazy. This dude's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's black.
Dude,
Obama.
you can clearly see.
There's different white people. There's different Asian people.
You can clearly see a difference.
People.
There are clear differences in this. It's not. You say that I'm obfuscating, but the reality is that it's complicated. And even you acknowledge that when you're like, "Well, I'm 50% Irish and I'm 25% Italian and I'm 25% Hispanic, but it's the mestizo."
Do you think that me? Okay, I have white skin, I have green eyes, I have curly brown hair. Do you think that if I walked into Little Village in Chicago where they're all 5'5" and brown skin and black hair and said, "Hola, amigos, can I have some tacos?" Do you think they would recognize me as one of their own and say, "Oh, yes, a Mexican"?
If you walk up to them saying, "Hola, amigos, can I have some tacos?" Yo, what the fuck? supposed to be quarter Mexican. I like what the you even you can't come up to Mexicans and talk about tacos and shit. Like nigga, like what the hell are you talking about? Hola, amigo. Do you have a taco? Of course they're gonna be offended with that shit. Like who the fuck is this white boy, bro? Like you have to have the culture absorb you. That's how that shit work. Okay, you have to become a cultured human being, meaning immersing yourself in that, right? And once they see that you've immersed yourself as part of the culture, they will accept you as your own. And immersing yourself meaning adopting how their mannerisms, adopting their customs. That's all that is. And once they see that you're trying, they'll eventually come around to accepting you. But you go over there and talk about, hola, amigos, can I have a taco? Yeah, okay, here's this nerdy white boy I like to punch in the face because I don't know if he's being snarky or just being racist. That's what they're saying. Like, what the? You don't go to any neighborhood. That's like going up to a black neighborhood, talk about, hey, yo, what up? Yo, up, bro? Hey, where the chitlins at? Like, who said that? Yet, if you notice, there are white people who blend in seamlessly in black culture. There are different cultures that blend in seamlessly within other cultures because they immerse themselves within that culture. They don't try to pretend or virtue signal, right? Y'all see, so even some of the people on the left do this shit, right? People on the left, they'll do some stupid shit like, oh, if you wear a sombrero, that's offensive because you're not really Mexican. But then to most Mexicans or most Hispanic people, they don't see that as offensive. They see that as you honoring their culture and tradition. They don't, but like, you know, people who are tone deaf, they don't get it. They're not cultured themselves. You see what I'm saying? So on both sides of the extreme, they're idiots, right? Whether on extreme right, like him, which he is, right? You're saying, oh, well, this is what I think the typical stereotypical black person is, right? This is the stereotypical Hispanic person. Yeah, they all eat tacos, right? Or the stereotypical Asian person. They're always smart, right? All these stereotypes that these people like have with them. And then on the other side, it's just, man, y'all gotta wake up, bro. Y'all gotta wake up. And this is what Destiny said earlier with his first debate with Sneako. If you're trying to buy into this whole I'm anti-establishment because the government, I don't trust them conspiracies, right? You got to make sure that you're doing it with some level of research. And you've come to that conclusion because you know. But if you're just spouting off talking points, right? You're basically the pawn of the other side that you're not part of. You see what I'm saying? And that's what Destiny was talking about. This is ridiculous.
Welcome to the neighborhood. No, they'd be like, what's this gringo doing here?
I mean, it depends. To quote the great philosopher Sneako, what on that fucking intro video on your channel, I think you mentioned that like people when you were in Peru? I don't remember where you were, but people would walk up to you and speak English because they'd instantly assume you were American because they could tell by looking at you, right?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah. I understand, but even in Brazil.
Yeah, you can, or when you go to fucking the UK, like you can tell like who's American or who's British. I'm not saying that you're gonna walk into a fucking project in Chicago and be welcomed with open arms. Obviously, you're hitting at like extremes there. But like, I mean, different people look different ways. It's not just like you can't fit everybody into black, brown, white, Asian. Like it's not that clean. It's never going to be that clean. I don't think
anybody's saying that you could say absolutely, because there are people that are mixed race, but the existence of mixed race people who are racially ambiguous does not negate the existence of the races. In fact, it almost confirms them because they're two races together. That's what makes them ambiguous.
You don't even
like what Japanese people.
Like you couldn't point out. You couldn't.
Two black people can make a white baby. You know that, right? That's a thing that happens. Two black people can make a white-looking baby. All right, the features may be black because the parents don't have white facial features, but they could still have a baby that's white. You see what I'm saying? So, if you're saying because two different races mix and they pop out, like that doesn't make any sense, bro. Because people of the same race can have babies, and then there could be something completely different. That's just how this shit is. Okay, so you like your arguments are not making sense, bro. I'm like stunned that this guy actually has a platform, and there are people that follow him. Some of them are political figures. Like this is crazy to me.
Point out like accurately like races or percentages even in this room. Like it's obviously more complicated than that.
You're telling me that I couldn't look at I could say Sneako is mixed race.
What does that even mean? You're mixed race, but you're mixed race.
I could say that you're white.
You're mixed. You're mixed race. You've got curly brown hair. Your last name is Fuentes. Like, come on.
every person in this call right now is easily recognizable by their race. We don't need to pull up their 23andMe to say that there are two black.
Well, you just said that you were Italian and Mexican. Those two are technically racist, right? You're Italian and Mexican, right? So you're a fucking mutt. They just say it. You're a goddamn mutt. You're mixed race, same as Sneako. So what you're the definition of what you're talking about, you moron. Like yo, just because your skin is white. So then in that case, I could say a albino child is white, right? Is he white? We all know he's not, right? Because the parents are black, but the skin is white. So what he's basically proven that his knowledge of race is skin deep. He's trying to make it seem that it's deeper than what it is, but at the end of the day, it's skin deep for idiots like this. He negate the fact that his last name is Fuentes. Forget the fact that he's a quarter Mexican. Forget the fact that he's freaking Italian. No, it's because it's skin deep. He looks white, so everyone can easily identify these guys as white, versus the fact that you are mixed race. You're the definition of a mixed race child. Your last name is Fuentes. Like you're Fuentes, my guy. Like what the fuck? Like what the fuck? Yo. I was watching a documentary that was talking about Hispanic people are probably more racist, especially when they get on that white shit, right? Especially to blacks. They're more racist to blacks than anything else. It's an interesting documentary. I forgot what it is. I'm like spacing out right now, but there was some things to say, right? And there were some people that popped in and kind of like what do you call it? Validated that a lot of Latin American homes that can be racist sometimes. But I think that's like that with a lot of homes too. Like a lot of people, this is where I subtly agree with Nick, but not his excuse, right? A lot of people would prefer it if you kept it within the same race, but I think that's just more of a biological function than what he's trying to make it out to be, right? Because most people, they like the fact that it's easier to deal with someone who's I wouldn't say it's easier as in like personality or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. I think people are just more naturally attracted to their races. It's just what it is. But on certain occasions, there are people who jump the aisle because they find other races attractive. It is what it is. And we've seen that all throughout. So when we have the situation where Nick is pretty much the product of an interracial relationship, and he's now saying, well, I don't identify with that. I identify because you're not identifying with your race. You're identifying with your skin color. So I'm team white, but you're half, bruh. I can't.
I'm not gonna lie, man. If you would have told me you were mixed with like a bit of black or a bit of Asian, I would have believed you, Nick.
But bro, if I was
like you could definitely have a 25-50%. I could see it.
Nick, but it's like so like surface level, just like what does being black mean? What does being white mean?
Oh, we go deeper.
It's like you're looking at it so surface level.
Well, here's the thing about race.
What's your favorite thing to say, man?
What is everything
Here's the
surface
thing.
level?
Surface level. That's the best way to big bro somebody. Just that's surface level.
Is it not? Like I'm black. What does that mean? I'm black. That's a fucking color. Black is a color.
Did this fool just say? Did Sneako just say it? No, that's not. It is skin deep. Like that's his argument. His argument is skin deep. It's nothing. He just negated the fact that he's Mexican and Italian. Sneako is mixed race, but he's basically saying, oh, you can identify people based off their skin color. It's skin deep. He said, look at me. You could tell, obviously tell I'm white. Well, yeah. So it's skin deep for you, because if it was about what you were saying earlier, which was your race, then this argument wouldn't make sense, because you're a mixed race child. Your last name is Fuentes, okay? So you're a product of what you're talking against. Like if it was your world, you wouldn't exist. See, that's why for guys like Nick, this is an agenda for him, because on some level, he knows. He knows the game he's playing. It's a media game. And that's why he doesn't like Destiny, because Destiny's calling him out on it.
Black. Like, black is this is black. I'm not fucking black. Like, but we just say black.
Point being is that you're descended from people that come from Africa. And you could say, well, what does white mean? Well, white means descended
Hold up.
from.
I'm sorry, I paused it too much. You're descendant of people that came from Africa. Where are scientists saying that life originated from? What was it from? Europe? Was it from China? Was it from America? Or did life start in Africa? So what is it? Did it start in? Because if you're saying that life started from Europe, then that doesn't explain a whole lot. It doesn't. Okay. There's a reason why they call Africa the cradle. The cradle. The reason why they call it that. Life started there, especially with I won't say life, but like where we started, how we started. That's where we were, and then we migrated to different parts of the continent. And as we dealt with the elements of those parts of the continent, skin changed. If you're in an area where you don't need as much sun, you don't need pigmentation on your skin. You don't need it. You just need less pigmentation to absorb more sunlight. But if you're in a climate that has more heat, you want more pigmentation to reflect or absorb more sunlight. You see what I'm saying? So we're just adapting to our environments. So when someone just says that, it's skin deep for this guy because he's saying, "Oh yeah, I don't look like I have a genealogy from Africa." Where did you think you started from? Yeah, well, you just got plopped here from space because white people are different. Like, you're freaking weirdo, dude.
People that come from Europe, and you're right. It's not.
Where do the Europeans come from? I mean, technically, aren't we all descended from Africans? If you want to get technical about it.
Thank you, Destiny. Fuck yeah, he just.
What? What the fuck? Chill.
Whoa. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
You look at me?
That's
What?
what Destiny say the N word. He wants to so bad.
No, I don't. Chill. Damn.
One time.
Oh, I thought you.
I only do that when I have my cozy stream on. Okay, chill. Holy
Wait,
shit.
okay, so this is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Nick is saying some crazy stuff, but he's not saying anything to the fact that he's gonna be banned from banks or airlines. So I want to know, what are you really saying? Because you have to be saying something crazy. There's no way that the stuff you're saying is what got you banned from banks and stuff.
I don't have a book. Oh, wait, the book I showed.
Yes, where's that book?
Which one? The one I showed the other day?
You know the book.
There has to be more to the story.
Which one? I don't have it on me. My books are over there. But
The book that got you banned for the banks and the airlines. The book is the reason you're on Cozy TV. The end of every conspiracy theory. That book, like.
I don't have that book. I was telling you about it, but
Okay.
no. Well, the thing is,
The reason is because if you really go into every conspiracy theory, and I'm not saying I believe in it in Minecraft, but the end of every conspiracy theory is that Jews control everything in Minecraft.
well, that's a big part of it. But here's the
You
thing.
can just call them the villagers, okay?
Yeah, the villagers. When you say certain things, there's an activist class that exists in America. It's comprised of the ADL, the SPLC, groups like that, and they happen to form they're called the trusted flaggers on YouTube. They're designated the specialists in hatred and political narratives, and they are able to flag, like a user on YouTube can flag a video and say, "Oh, this is hate speech. This violates the TOS." The ADL is a group founded in defense of a Jewish guy 100 years ago who raped some girl. The ADL
To be
can
clear,
go in
he
as-
didn't. That's not true. That's fake news.
Oh, okay, sure. The ADL can go in and they can flag a video, and as a trusted flagger, the video automatically gets taken down. That's one example of their power. There's a group of activist special interest groups. They're designated experts in hate. They're designated experts in political narrative. And if you say these kind of things, if you say things that go against the consensus, which is promoted by the government and the media and education and university, they will flag you as a white supremacist, a hater, a Nazi, et cetera, et cetera. And they have the power to go in and they get you banned from social media and they flag your stuff to the government. And there are people that are paid to watch my show every night. There are people paid to watch my show every night, transcribe it, find all the nasty things I've said, write articles about it, and then whenever something good happens to me, if I go to an employer, they will send that dossier to the employer and say, this is someone who is saying the wrong things, has the wrong opinions, he can't have a job. And if I were to get hired by that organization,
You compared Africans to zombies from World War Z, climbing over each other to get the European countries. I'm sorry, bro, but like, if I was an employer, all right, me being black, I'm just saying, and I came across a dossier that included you saying something similar, I might want to slap you. Like, Just saying, like I just might want to do that. But you know, it's a free country. You say what you got to say, and I have the right, you know, to just accept it. But since I'm the employer, I have the right to not hire you, okay? Because then I have customers, right? And not to mention that even if you are a good employee, just to be fair, there are customers who can recognize you, which can open my platform up to lawsuits, because America is a lawsuit hungry country. All right. You do one little thing, it's a lawsuit. So it is what it is, bro. Like this dude is wow. This is crazy.
They would rally protests against that organization until I got fired. Like, and this is something that's very real. And this is what's shaping corporate America's wokeness. This is what shapes the government's wokeness. When the Christchurch shooting happened, they formed an international consortium of telecom companies, social media companies, etc., to censor so-called white identitarian, nativist, white separatist, all kinds of ideas. And who did they bring in the congressional hearings? Who did they bring in at this consortium to inform them and give them the specialized knowledge of who to censor and who to ban? They brought in the activist class. They brought in these activist organizations. That's why you have that, like, that's the basis of political censorship. So that's a big part.
Okay, hold on. I have a question. That means you didn't want to know. So we understand that there's all this kind of censorship going on. Our question to you is, what did you say specifically around that time that you got banned?
This dude said everything but what. Y'all notice that? Y'all notice he said everything but what he did to get banned. He talked about the media trying to get everybody. They put together these plots. Okay, you can't say nothing. They got these people going around tagging social media accounts and flagging people. You said all of that, but what you did to get banned? What did you do to get banned? Like, just say it, bro.
Let's say something crazy.
That's what we want.
It's all kind. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not about necessarily a specific thing. It's broadly that I am a race realist. It's because I criticize Jewish power. It's because I criticize certain things. In Minecraft, conspiracies. And so I've been banned from many things over the past 5 years. It's never one specific thing. I got banned from PayPal 4 years ago. I got banned from YouTube in 2020. I got put on the federal no-fly list last year. It's things that my first hit piece was written about me in 2017 because I said we shouldn't import ISIS to the United States. Like, so it's many things over the course of 5 years.
Was that really all you said?
Well, I didn't.
You're bullshitting. I can tell you're bullshitting.
You said?
Well, how am I bullshitting?
Bro, you're bullshitting, bro. Just tell us, what did you say?
That's it. Got on him.
I feel like I remember there being a leaked phone call and some other stuff that came out too that got you kicked out of school too. No, was that?
Yeah, that is something.
Something about like if a white girl dates a black person, it's the same as like fucking a dog, something like that. Maybe am I? I remember this correctly.
Okay. Whoa. You not getting a job nowhere, my nigga. Whoa. You said if a white girl has sex with a black guy, it's the same as fucking a dog. That's what this idiot's saying, right? You're not getting hired nowhere. Bro, you of course you're gonna get canceled for saying some dumb shit like this. Are you crazy? Like what the fuck? Like, oh, Jesus. So what are you trying to say? The white girls who are engaging in those behavior are engaging in bestiality? Are you comparing us to animals? Like, yo, dog, this is crazy. This is a wild conversation, bro.
Oh, there it is. Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate
that. I might be mixing it out. Let him defend himself.
I know that confirms everybody's biases, but that's not what I said. And I'll tell you.
Tell us what you said. Yeah.
I will. That's a very funny story because here I was at this job training.
How is that funny?
Which is this conservative thing. And I'm hanging out with a bunch of people late into the night. And at this point, I'm like a target, okay? Because I was supposed to be
you're the victim. I'm a victim.
And they didn't want me working there because I kept saying, hey, why did we send all this foreign aid to Israel? Why did Israel blow up the USS Liberty? Why have the Jews been expelled from 109 countries? Like, jokingly, what's going on with that?
Jokingly but okay.
Oh, well, jokingly, but also an inquiry. And they said, well, you can't work with us. Really. Hateful questions. Those are hateful questions. You can't talk about that. We're never going to hire you. So there was this girl, Cassie Dillon, who had it out for me because I went against.
somebody.
So then I go to this job training.
when he says that, what he means is because he was anti-Semitic. There's a lot of coded language in here, but okay, so go ahead.
Yo, Destiny is on point, bro. Y'all picking up the coded language too? I'm picking up the coded language because it seems like he's trying to set himself up to be the victim before he tells us what he actually said. So all these people had it out for you. What did you say? And you notice these right-wingers, right? Especially on the far, far right. I'm not talking about the guys who are kind of in the middle, right? I'm talking about the far, far right, right? They'll pit the blame at liberals and say, well, you guys are fragile little snowflakes, okay? You guys play victims all the time, okay? You guys are victim coppers, okay? You guys cop victimhood all the damn time. But then here's this guy, extreme right-wing. Oh, everyone's having it out for me today. And they all want to ban me because they're out for me, right? No responsibility into the shit that you say whatsoever. No accountability as a man, right? You're supposed to be a conservative man. No. They have it out for me, right? Andrew Tate, I'm getting banned. Oh, they have it out for me. They have it out for me, right? They all have it out for me. It's not the shit that I say. It's not going on Twitter telling people depression isn't real, right? No. I don't know why Twitter would ban me, right? Come on, bro. Take some level of accountability. You disguise what you're saying as truth. You see what I'm saying? They're disguising all this nonsense as truth. So then when you buy into the conspiracy angle to this, right, which has some truth into it, aka the media censorship, the cancellations, right, the overall sensitivity of people nowadays, and overall what's going on with, rubbing males out of, prominent roles in society right now. When you look at those real conspiracies, fine. Those are real, and you can see evidence of that. But then you combine it with the nonsense that comes out of this Nick's guy's mouth, you see how easy it is to get someone down that slippery slope to thinking his way, to becoming the alt-right nonsense. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have competent people to call this shit out, this is how they funnel your kids into the grift. All right. And for him, it's just about making money. I don't know if it's him about getting some kind of political position. I'm sure he's going to look for that at some point, because a lot of these right wing guys who try to do this dumb shit, they try to go that political route, right? Candace Owens did it. A lot of these guys did it, right? So I won't be shocked if he ends up trying to run for Congress or some dumb shit, and he'll do it on the right wings. Think about it. Most conservative people will embrace this guy. Hands down. Y'all think what he's saying is foul right now. They will embrace this guy off the basis of him talking about, I want to fight the establishment. I want to fight the status quo. But meanwhile, we just elected a racist, right? But he's hid undercover with this whole conspiracy mass trying to get you type bullshit, right? This is how they do it. This is how racists end up in positions of power. And you think when he gets in a position of power, the policies he's going to vote for is going to help you or anybody? Come on, bro. Like, wake the fuck up. These dudes, it's either your pocket or theirs. That's the real world game. It's your pocket or theirs. And their job is to figure out how to get the money out of your pocket and put it into theirs. That's it.
God damn it, bro.
Okay.
So that Minecraft bullshit's not gonna work. You think of
it's gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
It's gonna work.
This is real life.
So now months later, I go to this job training, and I'm friends with all these people. I'm there for a couple weeks, and we're just shooting the shit. It's like 3 a.m. We're all hanging out, and it's like we stayed overnight. It's our last night there. Long story. And so anyway, to make the long story short, we're all just talking, and I'm playing devil's advocate. We're talking about things, and I said, you can laugh, but this is bullshit that this happens. Oh. I think that we're all friends. And so I said, yeah, like I'm against race mixing. Like I said to you guys right now, I said, yeah, I don't approve of that. That's against my values. I value my identity, blah, blah, blah. And there's this girl in there who's a total whore, by the way. And she's
totally unnecessary, but okay.
Let me just discredit her right away. She's a total whore.
No. She gave it up to you, but I highly doubt it.
Hey. There's some guys who listen to Fresh and Fit that wouldn't mind that kind of language. Andrew Tate uses that same kind of language. You don't see how easy it is for a guy like Nick Fuentes to infiltrate the Redpill, to infiltrate the manosphere. You don't see how easy for guys like that to do that. We already have a dummy over here who found his way in. He's in here now. He's got the clout, and he's bringing on dummies like this and can't even challenge them. You don't think you listen? A lot of this stuff that these guys believe in falls along in the lines of the Red Pill ideology, right? How they view most modern women nowadays, right? How they view it, how they view certain things, bruh. It's all lining up. So don't say it's not that easy for someone like that to slip in under radar. It's no different than us complaining about racist cops getting into the freaking system, right? There's a way that they get in there. There's a door that allows them to come in. So we got to figure out what's enabling that door to happen. In this case, we're seeing it right here in the red pill space. This is crazy to me.
Hold on. When I
no
say
way she gave it up to you.
Hold on. When I say calling her whores unnecessary, I'm not trying to respect women. Fuck women. I'm just saying you're adding extraneous details to try to damage her credibility to make your side of the story.
Boom! Yo, Destiny, dog. That's what I'm talking about. You know that he discredits her. I said that earlier. He discredits her before he even gets in the story. That when somebody's trying to discredit you, listen. When somebody's trying to discredit you, right? Like the mainstream media, right? They either they restructure the title differently. They pretty much present you as the worst of the worst before they even get into the actual story. So that way you as a reader or you as a listener would listen to the story because you don't have the other perspective. You would say, okay, the person he's talking about on the other side, he's saying she's a hoe. Okay, well, yeah, okay, I guess. So that automatically decreases her credibility and decreases the likelihood that that young man or that person who's listening to that programming would be able to do any kind of critical thinking and say, wait a minute. Okay, someone can just fire you and say you can't apply here out of nowhere. Like there's got to be something you did, but he said she's a hoe, so I get it. She's probably being one of those, bitchy type girls I saw on Fresh and Fit or some type shit. That's what it is. So Destiny rightfully called them out. This dude just discredited her, right? And it's not on some simping shit. That's not what it is, bruh. If somebody listen, it's no different than you guys have heard rumors in schools, right? And somebody come to you, for a rumor that you got nothing to do with, but you see the situation when they're telling you their side of the story. That's it. Two friends are beefing, right? And one friend comes in and tells you their side of the story. What are they more likely to do? They're gonna discredit the other guy that they're talking about, right? Yeah, like yeah, he's a fucking liar, and he fucking said this, but that isn't really true, so you can't fucking trust him. But anyways, here's what really happened. They preface that so that in your mind, you basically think less of them and think highly of the person telling you the story. It's not until you hear the other side that you can come to your own conclusions. But here's a crazy thing. In this day and age, especially in today's kind of media, you often don't hear the other side anymore. It's the craziest side that wins 100% all the time, which is nuts.
Seen better.
He's just mad she didn't give it up. You're mad she didn't give it up.
She's not a credible person because she fucked 3 of the guys.
Well, that's a good thing. She had an audio recording, so we don't have to worry about her credibility. But go ahead.
Here's why I'm giving the backstory. So she was a friend of Cassie Dillon's, and Cassie Dillon is up with Daily Wire working for Ben Shapiro. And so we're talking. I said, yeah, I'm against race mixing. And these people are shocked. And they're saying, oh, my gosh, don't you know that's not politically correct? Don't you know that's not the liberal consensus? And this girl starts recording me and says, so, Nick, do you think that having sex with a black guy is the same as having sex with a dog? And I said, no. No, it's not the same. I said, but both to me are wrong. I said, I wouldn't do that with a dog.
Wait, hold on. And I'm trying to remember because I legit don't remember. We can bring up the recording. Did you say, no, it's not the same, it's worse?
No, I did not say
Somebody
that.
link me that. Hold on, let me link the call. I want to hear it. I need to hear it in chat.
Oh, yeah. I got to hear it.
You're completely misrepresenting it. I said, no, but they both be degenerate. That was what I said.
Oh, he said, but both would be degenerate. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Here's why that matters. Here's why I'm making a big deal, because people could roll their eyes and say, oh, it's the same thing. Here's why that matters. It's fucking bullshit.
You're calling us degenerates, bro. Like, what the fuck, bro?
And in America, we have like this Stasi political correctness where what I'm saying is I don't like race
now he's
mixing.
trying to put it on. He's trying to hide it in political correctness. He's trying. Oh, I'm just trying to. See, we're just so PC. No one get, bro. You're saying a woman who's dealing with a black man is equivalent to a woman fucking a dog. It's both degenerate. Like. What, like, how do you come back for that? Like, you can't come back. That's foul. That's wrong. That's a horrible thing to say. Like, that's racist. that's like you're gonna try to say, oh, it's politically correct now. Like people, oh, we can't say certain things. Yeah, bro. Like that's fucked up that you would say something. Obviously, people are gonna be pissed off, bro. Like this is crazy. Don't hide that on the political correctness, bro. If an employer don't want to give you a job because you said a black man having sex with a white girl is compared to her having sex with a dog, they're both degenerates. Like what kind of company wants that kind of like attention, bro? bro. Especially when it gets exposed that a company hires a guy that said that. The company's not even. It's not even about a race thing anymore, bro. It's a liability issue at some point. You're a fucking PR nightmare. So why don't you wake the fuck up and take accountability for what the fuck you say? It's not PC. It doesn't mean politically correct. It's you and the dumb shit you're saying because you're a snot-nosed child who hasn't been punched in the face yet. No one fucking walks around and say, oh, unless you're fucking crazy in the head, it's a degenerate thing for an interracial couple to have sex. It's fucked up, dude. Yo, I'm getting pissed off. I'm getting fucking pissed off, bro. Yo, bro.
I think I'm among friends,
Bro.
but then I get a little girl filming me covertly saying, so what you're saying is this? No. Boom. Sent to Cassie Dillon, sent to me.
You degenerate came out of your mouth, bruh. You said that. Like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, what the fuck, bro? And so, yeah, she's going to record you saying that shit because that's the shit that's going to get a lot of eyeballs because you're a fucking weirdo for saying that shit, bruh. Like, what?
Media Matters published on Nick says this. Nick said this thing. Fire him, ban him. That's fucked up. That is. We can't have free speech if we have that.
If you're cool with free speech, that's how you think. So you should say it out in the open. Why are you mad that she recorded it and put it out in the open?
I mean, hold on. In his defense, if I'm having a private conversation with you three
Should not be
on a
recorded.
Discord and you record it, even if I'm fine with what you said, I'd still feel very offended by the fact that you put it out.
I can understand that.
Abba, you can't get that because that wasn't the same scenario. The scenario he brought up was in a work event where, like, you know, he came up and he was saying that a former coworker was recording him when he was saying that because she asked him the question, right? So he was trying to frame it as the coworker baited him into doing that, but it wasn't a private conversation that she recorded in private. They were talking about that right there out in the open, and she pulled out a phone and recorded. And he was aware that he was being recorded. So, Abba, that is not the same thing, my dog. This dude basically just, bro. Oh my God, bro. Come on, Abba. Come on, Abba. Come
Bro,
on.
there are certain people who, like, if you're in the political world, if I'm talking to you, I'm assuming every DM is getting leaked. That's pretty wild. Like, if I was hanging out with fucking Ben Shapiro and Elijah Schaefer and other Daily Wire people, I was like, man, black people, they fucking stink, don't they? I would imagine I'm going to get fucking fried at some point. Like, that's pretty obvious.
It wasn't that.
That, Destiny, because you're a liberal and you always say the right things. You know that you're on the
No,
side
that's
of-
nothing. Hold on, stop. Grow up. No.
You're putting this is what Sneako does. Sneako, I guarantee you probably don't know what the fuck was said in this whole stream, right? Because what do you have to say to Nick Fuentes after he just said what the fuck he just said? After he just exposed that what he really got banned for was saying that interracial sex is equivalent to fucking dogs and they're both degenerates, right? What is your response to that, Sneako? But no, we don't have a response to that. Bro, like he's not prepared for this conversation, period. He's not.
Wait.
Let him finish. Sneako, go ahead. Say what you want to say.
They're saying in the donos too that Destiny knows full well Nick did not say that. He always jumps on these as a white savior to derail the conversations. Did you really think that that's what the phone call is about, or are you just trying to paint him as a white supremacist even more?
Okay, first of all, I don't have to.
Sneako, that's dumb. I have to play the rest of his response because that was dumb, bro. Like, it's not him trying to paint right as a white supremacist. That's not how. What he just said was racist. Like what he just said. How is he trying to? Destiny did not do anything to try to paint him as anything, bro. What he did, what Nick said, was racist. That's what he said. See, this is what. Fuck, Sneako, you dumb motherfucker. What he's unknowingly participating in is part of that divide that I'm telling you about, right? Where he's over here all of a sudden saying because Destiny is saying what he's saying is because he's a liberal and he's trying to paint Nick as an alt-right conservative, although just disregard that Nick just compared interracial sex to degeneracy. No, well, let's disregard that. It's because he's a liberal and he just wants to make a conservative look like a conservative alt-right. Fall into that paradigm a lot of these conservative truthers like to fall into. So this is why I can't stand what conspiracy theory is used in this way, because if people it's not hard for people like this to take the idea and have these racial undertones and mask it under the idea of free speech and mask it under the idea of censorship and mask it under the idea of PC, because realistically there's certain shit that's just like, hey bro, that's just who you are. You crazy, but that's fine. I recognize we're in America, but I as a private corporation don't have to hire you because you would be a PR nightmare. You see what I'm saying? So it's not because the world is against you. Yeah, that chick might have a vendetta against you, and I could see why. I barely been on here listening to you. I want to punch you in the face. I don't even know you, bro. Like, I could see that. You're probably unbearable to most people in your life. You seem like that dude. You just got that slappable face, right? But it's not because of just that. It's just because you say racist shit. Okay, it's racist shit that you're saying that got you not hired at that job. It's not because the world's against you because of PC. They don't want the PR nightmare, bro. Like, this is fucking, oh my God.
Brandon was a white supremacist. He already says he's a white supremacist. Number one, okay. Number two, the phone call did happen that he didn't admit until I brought up, which was true. And number three, I wasn't 100% sure what he said, which is why I keep asking, what did you say? Did you say that? Did you say that? Did you say that? And he did mention that they were both degenerate. So I was correct on every point.
All of that.
No. Goalpost shifted. You said that I said that having sex with black
mad.
Same as having sex with a
No, I asked you. I asked you.
Did you say it was worse?
I asked you, and then you clarified, and then we there. So that's it.
Roll a tape.
No, you can roll the tape. You can roll the tape. I said, didn't you say?
Did
Did you say this? And then you said no, and then you corrected. I was like, okay,
he admitted that it was degeneracy. He admitted that.
Misrepresented it to begin with.
I asked you a question. The only reason we're even talking about the phone call right now is because I brought it up because you tried to obfuscate by not bringing up that phone call, which was part of why people got really mad at you in 2017.
Listen, you could play everything back, but this is what they do. I am a political activist, to which if people want to know my views, I could tell them.
Here again, this is what they do. Again with the PC argument. Again with the look at Sneako. He looks lost. He looks like he doesn't even know what's happening in this conversation, bro. Like, this is crazy. Like, hey, bro, I'm telling you right now, he's an agent. Nick Fuentes is an agent, bro. Like, you are watching an agent get exposed right now, and he's got a following. There are people who follow this clown, but he's a fucking agent, bro. He's being exposed. That whole time he tried to hide what the freaking ban was really about, and it wasn't until Destiny came up here that he exposed that we all found out that the reason he got banned was because he said interracial sex was equivalent to degeneracy. That's why we found out, and we all are rightfully so appalled by that statement, right? But before Destiny came up, this dude was saying, oh, the media, right? They don't like free speech, right? These are the coded language. A lot of these guys, both right and left, propaganda that they try to use to get you to fall for one side or the other. And they hooked a guy like Sneako in to believe all that crap because he bought hook, line, sinker. This is crazy, bro. This is how they get you into using these conspiracies. I'm telling y'all, bro, people who don't do their research on conspiracy theories, bro, they are doomed to fall into these types of traps. And we're seeing it right now in the greater space at large, bro. Everyone is going into this right or left paradigm, and the middle ground is getting phased out, just like the middle class. So while y'all sitting there fighting over political ideas, the rich people are running out the back with all your goddamn fucking cash while you sitting here fighting amongst each other, bro. Y'all dumb, bro. And guys like Sneako's turning into a fucking agent to perpetuate this bullshit along with this dumb fuck over here. Bro, I'm like livid right now.
Precisely, in a very straight way. These are my political views. But this is what happens. I will say a joke, and people that are paid to watch my show will clip a 5-second joke, post it on the internet, and say, "Oh, Nick said this," so that means he's.
That's what you said.
I'll be in a private conversation, not with Elijah and Ben Shapiro. I'll be in a private conversation as an 18-year-old kid at a job training at 3 a.m. and be secretly, and you know how it goes. Everybody, I don't drink, but everybody there's drunk. You know that kind of environment. You know that environment when, people are drinking, you're hanging out, it's late at night. I'm not going to say things in a private setting like that the same way that I'd say them in front of an official audience.
No, hold on. You don't get to hang your.
But this is what happens.
No.
But this is the problem. And so things like that are going to be selected, taken, blown up, misconstrued. Like you just said, didn't you say it's this?
No. Hold on.
You mischaracterized the meaning.
No, you don't get to hang your hat. No, hold on. You're trying.
You're a free society.
No, you're trying to throw your lot in with people that are.
Hey, Destiny, he's getting heated, bro. Yo, Destiny's the only one calling him out. He's getting heated.
Misrepresents what a person actually believes. So say like I'm hanging out with ABBA and we're making racist jokes at each other and whatever, and that gets leaked and the people are like, oh, they're both racist. That would be wrong because neither of us are racist. However, nothing that got leaked from that call misrepresents your point of view. All of that is true. You do think black and white people being together is degenerate. You do think that Jews secretly run the world. You do think that they're like race realism is like a foundational belief of your structure. None of the things that got put out there are misrepresenting your points of view. They're all true. People that are getting scared of being canceled and stuff are being scared of being misrepresented, not of having their accurate viewpoint shown to the public.
But that's the thing. I'm not talking about cancellation. I'm not talking about necessarily misrepresenting. What I said was there's an activist class of people that it is their job to say, if you have, because you're right, I am a race realist and I do believe these kinds of things, but it is their job.
Okay, y'all heard that. He just said, you're right. I am a race realist and I do believe these kind of things. So, okay, you're a racist. That's just what it is. Race realist. You're racist if you believe that interracial sex is equivalent to degeneracy, which you just said. You're a racist, and you can't. What is it? Oh, you're blaming an activist group that is their job to listen. Taking someone out of context is one thing, right? If someone says something, right, and they're not trying to be racist or they're not trying to be a dick, right, but they say something and it just happens to, you can clip it and it seems like they're saying something crazy, right? That's one thing. If you put the full context and you understand that's not what they mean, fine. And they've tried to do that with someone like Joe Rogan all the time. The mainstream media has tried to do that, especially with the news, the Spotify deal. They've ramped that shit up, right? So they'll take him out of context, but everyone knows that that's not who he is. He's not trying to be racist. He's not trying to be, he can have his moments, right? We know them N-word clips. We're not going to give him a pass for that. But like, we know that he has those moments, but it's not that he's trying to be racist. On the other hand, Nick, this is what you believe. You are a race realist. So when they're saying, hey, this is what this guy thinks, and everybody's like, oh, that's horrible, right? And that's what you really think, you can't just say, oh, you guys are misrepresenting me. But because there's nothing to misrepresent. That's exactly what you believe, right? I don't think you should get canceled for it. I think we should clown you. I mean, actually, the reason why you shouldn't get banned is because we want you to get pushed like Destiny's pushing you right now. And for a lot of the dumbasses that think the same way you do. But like, oh my God, like this race realism and trying to hide on the PC. Oh, there's this activist class. There's this activist class of people. Bitch, as long as, if that's not who you are, then fine. But that you're a race realist. So it's like saying, hey, if you eat corn and somebody calls you out on eating corn and you lying and saying you misrepresenting me, but nigga, you eating corn. We just saw you eat corn. Like, I'm speeding fast. No, but you're misrepresenting me. But we just saw you eat corn. That's not true. Come on, bro.
To hunt down anybody with those viewpoints, even people like me that don't say these things in a way that is as abrasive or say these things in a way that's as provocative. There is an activist class that it's their job. Again, I'm not talking about cancel culture. I'm talking about an activist class that it's their job to misrepresent, misconstrue, and bury anybody with a different
You're
opinion.
not being misrepresented or misconstrued, though, Nick.
Keep interrupting?
You keep obfuscating.
No idea what
you're lying so much. Yeah.
You did misrepresent the phone call as soon as you brought it up, Destiny.
I was the only one
That's
that
what race realist is. It's code word for racism. That's what it is.
brought up the phone call. He denied the phone call even existed. I was just asking what he said on it.
Okay, just to bridge the gap, Destiny may have misconstrued at the beginning, but he did afterwards ask the question to clarify. Okay, so he did off the top, but then ask the question, what did you actually say? So I think we can all move past this fucking point because there's no sense going back and forth about it.
Yo, Nick, how old are you?
He's 23.
Nick, how old are you?
Yo,
23.
that's crazy.
You're
GD on some white dude in his boxers just came out right behind you,
That's
like he
crazy,
came out the
bro.
bedroom.
What the
Yo.
fuck?
Yo, bro. Yo,
That's
GD on the call if you have him on Discord. And the second thing, I want to ask you.
I don't think I can add him because this is Sneako's Discord.
Okay, I'm adding it right now.
All right, cool. All right, Nick, I gotta ask: Are you down with multicultural countries, people that import folks from all over?
Well, as far as hang on, is someone talking?
Yo, Dom, mute yourself.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit.
Notice how slippery he is between how he defines positions. Earlier, we were talking about how, like, you can't, like, his point earlier was that black people are black, brown people are brown, white people are white. Looking at, like, difference between black and brown people is really dumb. But now when we're talking about Africa, all of a sudden, that place where everybody's just black, well, now it's the most ethnically diverse nation on earth. How the fuck do we go from one to the other? And then secondly, earlier he's talking about, like, really diverse places, cause crime. The more diversity, the more crime. But what do you hear white nationalists always say over and over again? What's the number one killer of black men? Other black people. It's not like we've got, like, race wars going on in the United States where there's a lot of ethnic diversity exists. It's usually people that are victimizing themselves. It's not black people running out killing white people run out killing black people. It's just crime within communities.
Okay.
No.
Let Don.
30 seconds.
Let Don.
I don't get to respond.
No, you got more than him. You got more than this. I'm timing everything. Don, go ahead, and then we'll go back to you.
Nah, I was just saying that Destiny spin bars. I ain't got nothing to add to that. That was all bars right there.
All right, go ahead, Nick.
That is, first of all, earlier Destiny was saying that we couldn't tell what races the people on this call were. And it was in the context of that I said, are you fucking kidding me? Of course, we can identify the races of the people on this call. I said, though, earlier.
How can you like literally how? I can look at you, bro, but then if I say that, listen, if I look at someone like Nick Fuentes and say, oh, he's white, I'm wrong because he's not white. He's Mexican, Italian, and whatever the mix he is, right? I can look at someone like Destiny and say he's white. I may be wrong. You see what I'm saying? So it's not, listen, you can't guess someone's race just by looking at them. You can't, because it's not, unless you're looking skin deep. And that's what he doesn't want to admit. He's looking skin deep. And that's the base and crux of all his research and ideology, just skin deep. But he doesn't want to admit that. He's trying to make it deeper than what it actually is, but it's skin deep. At the end of the day, you can't tell what race other people is. I'm looking at Sneako right now, and honestly, if you would have told me he was Asian, I wouldn't have believed it. He looks Hispanic to me, but I would have been wrong. So no, you can't guess other people's races by just looking at them, bro, because I'd be wrong on Sneako. He like some of these Hispanic dudes I roll with. Like, I know, like, he looks like dude, right? And he would probably like blend in if he was in that community, right? And until he speaks and they realize he can't speak the language, but he's racially ambiguous, so you can't really tell. You see what I'm saying? The same thing with everybody else on the stream. This is wild to me, bro. Like, I can't believe that these idiots are just having this conversation right now. Like, this is crazy.
Remember, I said that it is complex. I said identity is complex, and people have different levels of identity, and different identities have different levels of salience. You have an ethnic identity, you have a racial identity, a national identity, your religion is part of your identity. People are complex. A black person is not just black. A black person could live in a particular region and have a regional identity, and they come from a certain country in Africa and have a certain tribal thing. It's complex. And the point is,
different from World War Z. You said earlier.
Concepts here. The more diverse a society is, the more the potential for conflict there is. If you have a group of 10 people and they all look the same and they all are the same, the possibility for conflict will be reduced dramatically. If you've got 10 people and one of them believes in God and one of them doesn't, and one of them's a Muslim and one of them's an Indian, and they're all different.
See, I wouldn't have known he was Cuban.
That's hypothetical and that's abstract, but that's
according to Nick Fuentes over here, this genius, this genius. I would listen. He said you could easily guess somebody's race on by looking at him. I thought Destiny was white. Apparently, he's Cuban. So Nick is wrong. You can't guess people's race by just looking at them. We're not in that world anymore. Like, that's crazy to me, bro. Like, this is wild.
The principle, which is that diversity, as a rule, leads to conflict. Difference leads to conflict. Now, if we understand that rule, then we can understand society, which is that not necessarily we should have no difference, because that would be boring and then you don't have progress and things like that. But it is to say, is it a good idea to import 30 million immigrants in 30 years?
No. Just so 2 points on that. So number one, this is just a quick question. Do you know what race Sneako is?
I do actually. Yeah, he's Haitian, Asian, and white.
And would you have known that just looking at him without knowing his background?
Would I know that he's mixed race?
Would you know what his races are? Because you said you could tell everybody's race on the panel.
I like I said, I could tell he's a mix between black and white, which he is. But
okay.
I guess the Asian, maybe not.
Sure. Okay,
yeah,
so you can't wait. Hold on, wait. So you can't tell the race of people immediately in this very diverse sense you talk about when Africa is the most diverse place in the world.
Did.
So number one,
that's
not an answer. Mixed race is not an answer. So number one.
Yes,
number two, you said something earlier that was really important. You said that's not an answer. So something you said earlier.
Keep moving on.
Something that you said. Yeah. So it's not an answer. The most diverse continent on Earth, which means they can't all be black. They're different types of races. So you've defeated your own argument.
We're talking about ethnic diversity. So, diversity is diversity. We're not strictly talking
about yeah, it's the ramble, dude. It's unbeatable. Okay. So something you said earlier is very true and very astute. You said that diversity leads to conflict. And that's a really good point. However, Fuck, I don't know the name.
Wait, do you agree with that,
Don? So Don over here brought up that there are all sorts of racially homogenous countries, and there are countries around the world right now in current genocides that are very homogenous when it comes to race. And you very correctly and very intelligently pointed out, well, hold on, people can have a diversity of religious thought, of cultural opinion, of different types of backgrounds, of different forms of government. These people can all fight. That is true. But what you fail to realize is that if you were to eliminate the diversity of race in some country, well, there would be other diverse aspects you'd have to fight on. So what is your goal at the end of the day? Are you going to try to eliminate the 1 million different ways that a country can be diverse, or are you only fixated on eliminating one of those diversities where other types of diversities can still lead to things like genocide? And if you are going to eliminate just one, why? If there are still people that are genociding, what part of that didn't make sense?
What do you mean? What is he talking about? See, Nick is an idiot. Nick is an idiot because they just went over his head. Basically, what he's saying. I'll be the layman's guy for you. Okay. Basically, what he just said is, if you're gonna look at all these other ethnic differences, religious differences, all these different differences, right? And then say, hey, well, listen, because it seems like what you're trying to do, basically what he's saying is you're trying to say the skin deep part, the race part, right? Because there, there's these racial differences, there would be less violence, but that's not the case, because if everyone was the same color, there will still be differences to fight about. It's ingrained in our nature. What tribalism goes down to the very basic foundation, which is family, right? So even if we're all the same race, we're still going to find a way to divide up amongst different lines. It is what it is, bro. That's just what he's trying to say. So what are you trying to say, Nick? Is it the white situation, or is it the religious situation? Is it the tribal diversity? What type of diversity are you trying to cut off here and get rid of? Because to everybody else, it seems like you're trying to get rid of the obvious, which is the white and the white part of it, the white and black part of it, right? The skin deep part of it, like we're trying to say, but you're saying is not. But that's all we know that's true. Because again, I'll even use Nigeria as an example. We're all black in Nigeria, but there's infighting right now, right? Because we're all lined up along religious line, right? So you're either Christian or you're Muslim, right? Or you're extreme Muslim. That's what it is. And all those three tribes will fight amongst each other. And if it's not on religious basis, well, guess what? It's going to be on tribal basis. You're either team Yoruba, you're either team Igbo, or you're team Hausa, right? Or team Fulani, right? So everyone is if you were all black, if you were the same skin color, we will all find a reason to fight. So what type of differences are you trying to get rid of here? Are you trying to say we should all segregate? Okay, fine. But that's not going to get rid of the violence. All right. It's not going to get rid of the violence or anything like that. And plus, most violence that occurs happens from people who are members of the same community, meaning that they find it easier to commit violence against themselves than cross violence against other communities, which goes bad on your initial idea, Nick, that black men beat their girlfriends more, because that's not the fucking case. That's just shit that doesn't happen. It may happen more with your community, not happening over here. That's just what it is. Okay. So if you have every race that's the exact same, there's going to be differences. There's always going to be different. Like, yo, what the fuck? I'm gonna slowly start winding this down. We'll play a little bit more, and then we'll call it in.
About what? Here's what doesn't make sense. Here's what doesn't make sense.
Hold on. I think Destiny's making perfect sense, but he's building it on a valid point that you made. That when people have different beliefs, I believe that is what is at the heart of the matter. It's different beliefs, different ideologies, different moral codes, right? I think that is what is at the heart of all of the conflict, in conjunction with what are those moral codes? What is your morality based upon?
Identity in their community. And that is a difference it's pretty much the same thing as tribalism, just by based off where you live geographically. So my question is, if you feel like diversity leads to so much conflict, how come you're not seeing that replicate in a lot of these countries, which I would argue are just as diverse in regards to how they think about things and how they view things politically?
Well, I would say, I want to say I'll answer that about Destiny. And here's the issue always with the debate. Here's how it always goes. There's always
he's mad at Destiny.
Races, races are real. If there's difference, then there's a possibility for conflict. All of that has sort of been conceded, but Destiny goes, okay, well, that's great. So why do you want to eliminate race? And it's like, I never said that. Okay. And I came on the stream saying, this is my understanding. My understanding is that I don't like necessarily making a country more multicultural, more multiracial, because while you may bring in diversity, which is good in some regards, it also tends to create destabilization and chaos and problems. And so we need to understand the problem. I never came on here and said we need to eliminate.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. And Destiny just said, if you eliminate, what problem do you want to eliminate? Is it the racial problem? Then just admit that. You don't want people of color infiltrating your land. Right, that's what it is. But don't say it's because that the level of violence is going to go up, or all the stabilization, all this nonsense, because that could easily happen if everyone was the same race. They're different. Listen, look at China. China's got people who are also Asian in there, but they're Muslims, right? To my knowledge, right now, there seems to be some internment or some camps, let's just call it that these particular demographic of Chinese people are being put in right now, okay? But nobody wants to talk about that. But realistically, if everybody was the same race, you could still have destabilization in a country. That just because you import immigrants doesn't mean that it's gonna destabilize the country automatically because you have race mixing. No, only when you have uncontrolled immigration, right? Where you have immigration that isn't, where you have mass immigration where it's not controlled in a certain way, and then people who are less likely to pretty much assimilate to the culture, right? But not saying that immigration is 100% bad, because countries that immigrates are countries who can basically benefit from a massive amounts of basically innovation and diversity, because you have different cultures coming in and becoming a thing. Think about it. If United States didn't have black people and hip hop spawned somewhere else, United States will be another one of these European fucking spin-offs that has zero fucking cultures, or whatever the fuck. I would say zero fucking culture, but like they do have culture, but not to the extent hip hop is, not to the extent culture is today. Okay, it wouldn't be the same. It'd be kind of backwards, right? The way you would see how Europe is right now. You see what I'm saying? But you have a melting pot where you have different cultures that can not only learn from each other, but grow and innovate new things off of each other, right? There you go. Listen, if there weren't black people, Elvis Presley wouldn't have been a thing, okay? I'm just saying, okay? Y'all white folks wouldn't have had Elvis, okay? I'm just fucking around at this point. But you see what I'm saying? Because Elvis took influence from black culture. It just is what it is, bro. So I'm sorry, I didn't see that happen the hundreds of years ago. White folks had their own country. Listen, I'm saying white folks like that, but like, listen, their diversity even in white, okay? Like this Nick Fuentes guy, he's Mexican. Okay, he's diverse as they come. Even in his perfect world, someone like him wouldn't exist. Someone like Sneako wouldn't exist, right? A lot of these people wouldn't exist. But a majority of y'all are some kind of product of an interracial relationship. I just think it's wild that this guy is saying this nonsense, almost like he's coming from a position of no culture. I'm gonna play a little bit and then we'll just call it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just call it right here because I'm pretty much, because they end up just going in circles and shit, and it's just. It just gets crazy, But other than that, guys, I don't know. Let me know what you think, right? What are you supporting race mixing, right? Or do you think it's a degenerate thing, right? Like this dumbass over here. But my closing point is this, bro. I think that it's a good thing that we have guys like Nick Fuentes who are coming out and talking, because it's easy for other people to expose these kind of ideas, so then we can put them to pretty much put them under the fire. Right, put them in a melting pot right there. So see what they can do. Put them in a hot seat. Right, let them squirm. Let them battle their ideas. So if their ideas were so great and so factual and based off truth, then this should be an easy walk in the park for them. Right, so that's why we have to have more of these guys come out so we understand where they are. I'm not in favor of banning, but like when these guys come out, their ideas have to be challenged. And when we run away from challenges, bro, we fall into echo chambers that produces future school shooters like this Nick guy over here. I won't be surprised. There's some people who are more inclined to lean in that direction that will probably follow him. Right, just like there are more people who are more inclined to lean in that direction that follow some of these pill poppers in the manosphere space. So this shit, it's all reminiscent of what we gotta say, bro. We gotta understand. You got to pay attention to what you're listening to. Like there are a lot of these guys who have hidden agendas, like Nick Fuentes over here. This guy is a freaking agent, bro. He's got a hidden agenda. He's just trying to covertly get your kids, get your everyone who's not all the way up there and is filled with a bunch of emotion to buy into his bullshit. So y'all need to pay attention because these agents are everywhere, bro. If you want to talk about the Matrix, bro, all right, there wasn't just one agent. All right, there were a bunch of different agents, and they patrolled the Matrix to make sure that everything was in order. Okay, and if you start bucking the system, they come in and beat you in line. These idiots pretending to know the truth, they're the same agents that are making sure you fall in line. Just keep that in mind. And with that being said, I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna be on vacation, so I'm gonna be out of the state for a while. So no show this Saturday, but listen, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button to know when we got a new one coming up. But hey, man, let me know what y'all think. I just think this guy's ridiculous. You say shit like this, you're gonna get banned, bro. It is what it is. Most of these private companies, it's not because they don't want you, or it's about the money, Lebowski. Okay. Enough people are going to complain, and if that means you're going to lose revenue, they'd rather kick your ass off than not. So, hey, Nick, word of advice to you and any of these manosphere motherfuckers that are claiming victimhood, because that's what you all are doing. It's the shit that you say. So why don't you take accountability for that and then worry about something else? Because realistically, you're not going to sit there and blame a corporation for trying to protect their assets while you're sitting there going on saying wild shit that can get them sued. Just saying, bro. Just saying. Listen, I'm a freedom of speech supporter, but like when I look at shit like this, it's just like, listen, I want you on this platform, but it's up to them. You saying this shit like race mixing is equivalent to fucking dogs. That's crazy, bro. Like, what kind of who would want that on their books? Who would, like, come on, bro, think with your fucking dumb self. But I'll catch you guys on the next one, guys. For real, we're going this time. Peace.